Leclerc is now clearly better than Verstappen. And what would have happened if Lewis Hamilton had qualified better? Welcome to the Blatantly Biased Racing podcast. Let's get into the Spa Grand Prix.
Welcome to the Blatantly Biased Racing podcast. Now here's a bald guy and some Indian.
And
How
this
are you,
podcast is not sponsored by Red Bull.
No, that's a
After what
shame.
we've been saying for the last few weeks, pretty sure we're never going to get sponsored by
On the
them.
plus side, though, at least Yoss is quiet now.
Now you're fine.
Oh, that Rosberg, like genuinely, like I'm constantly watching F1 like TV coverage now. I just stopped watching Sky coverage.
Yeah.
And I only switch over when someone is like, hey, Rosberg's on the commentary today.
Me
Like,
too.
up, in. I love that he's just like willing to just say whatever, you know? Like, it's
He
just
has
so
nothing
good.
to lose, right?
Yeah, he doesn't care. And he gets, like, the thing is, if Sky drops him, you know someone else is going to pick him up immediately
He's going
anyway.
to pick him
yeah,
up.
immediately. So,
Without a doubt.
but yeah.
What happened with me was the clip went viral of him asking Yos. So I thought, okay, this time around, let's watch Sky. So I switched to Sky, and it was Crofty and Brundle. And as soon as I saw that, I just like, fuck it, moving on. Let's move back to TV.
I stuck around for a little while when it's Brundle, but like, it's just like Brundle, I don't mind. I just don't know what it is with Sky. Like, there's just been thousands of times over the last 12 races where something has happened in the race and Brundle's normally pretty good, but it'd be like Crofty and Brundle are sitting there, or Crofty and Anthony Davidson are sitting there or whatever. And they're all thinking about what's happened and talking about it as if like it's this big mystery for ages. And then you switch to F1 TV and it's Jolyon Palmer going, yeah, he had his DRS on, for example, like in Japan with Doohan, you know? Or like literally within like 5 minutes of this one, it's just like Alex Jake and Jolyon just like, yeah, it's over. Like Norris isn't going to catch him. And then I switch over to Sky for a minute and it's Crofty going like, three-way showdown. Will it all come down to the last lap? It's like, no, like this is over. What are you talking about? And I just switched back immediately. I was like, it's just ridiculous.
Is it... where are you watching, by the way? You're watching on
F1
your
TV.
laptop? No, on your laptop or on your
TV,
right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Is it through an app or you're casting it?
No, through an app. So it's really
Which
easy
app?
to just the F1 TV app.
We don't have it here.
Oh,
which
okay.
is
It's
quite
Mexico's
weird.
just better in every way, man. You should just come here.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm thinking about it.
F1 TV app and like less, like at most 2.5% tax. I mean, you should just come here. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. And the weather's nice.
There's a few
Conditions
cartels,
less.
but you know, I
I
mean,
mean, they're here as well.
yeah.
Some would say India's
I'm
one
sure.
by one. So
Yeah, exactly. But let's not talk about Modi. So moving on to the first topic. What do we have to talk about?
Okay, so let's begin first of all with people claiming that Spa is a shit track. Apparently, people think Spa is a shit track and it is not good for racing.
Yeah, I disagree. Anyway.
Yeah, how would you expand on it? Because one of the people who is actually quite respected in terms of the kind of opinions he gives, Intern, his name is One Turn something.
Oh,
That's his
yeah,
name.
he's a Jamaican guy, right? He has the Jamaican flags.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've talked to him before, slightly. Look, I think the thing is, it's like Spa can be a good track. We got a couple of problems. One is, for some reason, the DRS is shorter now on the main straight. I know that's been since last year, but it's just like, what are you doing?
Why?
You know, ridiculous. Should be longer, if anything else. The second thing is just with these cars now, with dirty air and with the fact that they're just like, this is a weird thing to say, but they've converged so much in terms of performance of how close they are that like when the dirty air is the way it is and the DRS isn't like mapped up properly, you just don't have the offset to overtake. So you really need to be able to like lunge, you know, down the inside or whatever, or you need the tires to be like massively offset. So when everyone's managing the same set of tires essentially for the same amount of laps, the cars are also close. The DRS is shit. It's just overtaking is going to be awful, you know? So I think that is one issue with it, and I'm hopeful that maybe with the next generation. No, I'm not actually. No, I'm not. Never mind. I'm not
Exactly.
hopeful at all. I don't know. Like it's another thing, isn't it, where we just have another track that kind of, unfortunately, with the way the cars are now, just doesn't work properly. And it's not the track's fault; it's F1's fault. In reality, like the track is fine. There are places to overtake. Like we saw Lewis, for example, throwing the car down the inside of. Yeah, and then there was a few other overtakes as well, and like we've seen overtakes at the bus stop chicane, like down the Kemmel Straight. Like there's places to overtake. It's just you get in these DRS trains, they can't move, and then I also think part of it too is like everyone's set up for rain, and then because the FIA doesn't race in the rain anymore, we didn't get rain, so you get a situation where everyone's got high downforce, which is great through Sector 2, but again, because the convergence of the cars are so close, they're all within a tenth or two of each other in pace. So then they haven't got anywhere to overtake, and they're all on the same tires. Yeah, I do think this is one thing next year will help to solve. I think it'll take another 3 or 4 years before they figure it out properly. But I have been saying for ages, I think it's time to get rid of DRS and make it so that the tires are the main point of like someone goes, right, the car heads faster, but I'm going to throw on a set of softs and really pounce it, and like put the pressure on. That's the only way we're going to fix this. And then also, I do think, as I said before, like instead of this whole thing of trying to fix dirty air the way they're doing it, make the teams have to fix dirty air. Like just like I said before, you put sensors on the back of the car, and you have a threshold of dirty air. And if the teams break that threshold, they get disqualified just like they do for the plank. The teams will figure out the dirty air really fucking fast if you do that. That's the only way we're going to ever fix this, Make it like 20% turbulence or whatever way they want to measure it. I don't know. I'm not, but that's the only way we're going to fix this. And I think we need to stop.
Season, right?
Yeah. We just need to stop fucking blaming the tracks. Like if you put other cars on those tracks, they'd work just fine. So like, stop blaming the tracks. It's the cars at the end of the day. So
yeah, because the argument which I've seen from Ahmed also had the similar argument where he said that when was the last time we had a classic race at Spa? And for me the question was, when was the last time? No, even then, when was the last time we had a classic race?
Full stop. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because the problem that comes when you talk about Spa not producing classic races, it's got a lot to do with circumstances. First of all, when we talk about why the race this time around was not good, to a large extent, it's why the race last time around was not good at Spa. You have not only do you have shorter DRS range,
which is
DRS
baffling.
zone,
Yeah,
it's being complacent.
Yeah,
FIA as an organization, unless they are whipped into action by FOM or things get too bad, they just sit back and don't do anything. That's what they are. Honestly, it's basically a government organization. That's how these things run.
we know how well governments are when it comes to efficiency. Yeah,
when it comes to anything, I mean, they are efficient.
It's a non-profit. It's
exactly
the FIA is proof that capitalism works.
Yeah, and even you take that out of the picture. Just look at the tires. If a medium tire is going to last for 70% of the race, what are we doing here?
It's ridiculous.
32
Absolutely
lap
ridiculous.
stint, right? It was a 32 lap
Yeah,
stint
yeah.
from Oscar.
Absolutely
That's-
ridiculous. And
How
by the
many
way,
laps is it? 44, 70
the
plus
thing
one.
is as well, like Lando was catching for a while, right? But as soon as Oscar saw Lando in his mirrors, now Lando, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, but Lando screwed up, right? But the point is, as soon as Lando got anywhere near close and Oscar could see him, Oscar started popping in personal bests all of a sudden. So he was just managing. Like, he could have gone faster. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
We had C1, C3, C4. That was the tire range we had. And
So,
last time around we had
why
C1.
wasn't it C1, C5, C6, for example? Like, why not go all in on this,
And yeah, I agree with you. And for me, the thing is, why have the hardest option available? Why do you have a C1 in place? Have a C2, C3, C4? Because even at least in that case, teams would be forced to do something at least different.
I think even better than that. Like, I genuinely think you have one really hard, like a C1, like properly, like this is slow, but it'll go the whole race, right? But no other tire will go the whole race. We're going to put the C6
Exactly.
and the
That's
C6 and
They
C5,
should
like the
reach the
other
cliff,
extreme, right?
right?
Because then you could have someone like if you had the C6 and C5, right? Then you had Lando on a C1, for example, up ahead, yeah. If you're Albon, you're gonna fucking roll the dice and go, give me a C5. Let's kill these tires, but I'll be so much quicker than them for a few laps. You know, I can overtake, get track position, hope for a safety car, whatever it may be. But at least people are gambling. But when you've got a C1 and then a C4, for example, wasn't it? Or C3, sorry.
C1 and C3, yeah.
So the C3 then is kind of like, it's not that much, like it's durable enough and not that much slower or faster that it's like, okay, well, we could just jump on this.
Yeah,
you know?
that was my main complaint is if a C3 is lasting for almost 32 laps, then what's the point of having a C1 in place?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
If
yeah,
a
yeah.
medium tire lasts as long as it did, why do you have a hard tire? Right? That should
like,
not
the
even
thing
exist
was-
in that case.
They were saying before the race, if we got a dry race, someone could have done an audacious soft to medium. And now after watching the race, I'm like, that's not audacious at all. That would have been really easy.
That's the norm.
Yeah,
would
that
be
would have
the
been a
norm.
simple race.
Exactly. And it's just, it comes
Well,
down to...
how are Pirelli not knowing this? That's what I don't
They
understand.
know it.
Like,
It's as I wrote on X, they are all very complacent. They don't want to. Why do something out of the box if no one is asking you to, right?
yeah,
They were asked
yeah.
to do it at Imola, and they did. And look, if Imola can produce great racing, Imola produced great racing this time around,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it did not do that in the last couple of years. We had shitty races in Imola. This time around, we didn't. Why? Because after 10 to 12 laps, tires gave up.
Yep.
And that should be fine. I have no issues. I don't like tires where you can just continue to pump laps again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And if a hard tire can do that and a medium tire can do that, there's no difference.
I
Medium
genuinely,
tire
I
should
just
not
think,
last beyond 20 laps.
I think we should just, for every single race, regardless of the track going forward, it should be C1, C6, C5. Make the teams have to be forced to either go on a really slow, really long stint or to go on a really fast, really short stint and figure it out. Fucking figure it out. Like, you've got strategy
Exactly.
teams.
And they will.
you know?
The thing is, they will.
Yeah, yeah.
You have, but at least and you don't even have to scientifically do it. Engineer two stops.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
should have two stops. And it happened with Max and other drivers as well. The reason why they could not overtake, the strategic variables died because once, and I wrote it, 10th, I said, as soon as the pits are done, as soon as they move from inters to slicks, that's it.
That's
That's
it,
going
yeah.
to be the
It's
order.
done.
And that was
Yeah.
lap 12 and nothing changed.
Yep.
You can say the top 8, top 9 from
Well, apart from Hamilton, who sped through. You know?
no even
Oh, yeah, 'cause
after
he
the
was
first
already-
stop, he was
yeah,
P7,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So he didn't make any progress after
Yeah.
that. Once you are in that, that's it. There was Lawson in P8, there was Bartlett in P9, and that's it. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
This was exactly what happened last season, and they did not even learn.
Yeah.
I think that should infuriate. Look, if you are willingly putting out poor product, questions need to be asked. And honestly, they should start firing people.
I just really wish
There
they'd
needs
go.
to be some level of accountability because
I know it's for money, but I just really wish they'd go back to competition because, like, genuinely, like, if you had Michelin and Pirelli there, at least you would have some competition. You know, you would
but
have
then
people.
the cost cap is done, right?
Sure, probably.
That's the
yeah.
problem.
But it would just be nice to have some competition where Pirelli are under pressure. You know, I still think we should just maybe go to the opposite. Like, I think one of two things should happen. Like I said, either do the extreme C1, C6, like, you know, completely opposite tires, or go back to the old rainbows and just make it that the teams have all the access to every tire, and at least then you'll get some, like, you know, you'll get some people who will. Everyone's on this management stake. You'll get someone who's like, I'm in fucking P11. I don't care anymore. Give me the softest tire. Let me barrel through.
Yeah.
But by having such a small range, everyone's just inevitably going to go on the same
Remember,
thing.
this used to happen a lot to the 2018 Chinese Grand Prix where it was Max and Daniel. I think they just gambled as soon as there was a safety car. The top 4 drivers, which were, I think, Bottas, Vettel, Kimi and Lewis.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you had these two guys, and they just gambled on, I think it was a set of softs or something, and they just
Mm-hmm.
barreled through,
Yep.
and Daniel won.
Yeah. So just
The thing
that's
is,
the
at
whole
the time,
point.
you could
Like,
do that.
yep.
Now what happens is the soft tire, it doesn't last more than a lap.
Well, but the other problem at this race is, for example, like, you know, in this particular set, right, the hard tire, having that step, I do think makes sense, but I just think the step isn't enough, right? Because then you get people who are like, for example, if you're on the medium, right, even if you switch to the soft and the soft is faster, right? Let's say even the soft could last 10, 20 laps. It's only one step. So the soft isn't that much faster that it's going to make a difference. Whereas if you could go like from the C3 to the C5, for example, right? Then you've got a little bit more speed and you'll last a few laps. And you're like, right,
It
let's
lasts
just go.
a lap. The problem that comes is it lasts, and that's
Sure.
the whole
Yeah,
issue
yeah.
here. Because what happens is all three components are not race tires anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That is a concern for me primarily because we used to have that. Pirelli doesn't have it now because they it's as they're laid back. They're not willing to put the effort. Your wet tire doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
They finally brought a half decent wet tire this season. Before that, they didn't even have a wet tire, and you went through the entire regulations. What the fuck are you doing?
Do you think maybe in
how poor is the
Do you
tire
think maybe in
supplier?
2021, like after the tire explosions at Baku and Qatar, was it when the tires started falling apart?
Yeah, it
I
was
wonder
Baku.
if because of that they're all leaning on the side of like, oh, we have to be really cautious. And my thinking on that is just look, like make the teams cautious. Tell them like, look, this is rated for at most like 25 laps.
Yeah.
Deal with it. You know, like if you want to push it to lap 26 and try your luck, that's on you. Like, you know, but
Exactly.
not like, oh, well, some tires exploded. So now let's make sure all the tires can last 140 laps. Like that's not
Ideally, exactly,
you know,
because ideally, look, we had 44 lap race here,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it? The ideal scenario should be that the soft tire should last for 10 laps, not more than that. A medium tire should last for 20 laps, not more than that.
yeah,
A hard tire lasts for 30 laps, not more than that.
yeah.
Right now, we have the tires lasting throughout the race.
And it's not
The
like
me-
they didn't know this was going to happen given what George did last year.
Yeah.
And if anyone's like, oh, well, yeah, but he was disqualified for being underweight. Sure. But the teams would have figured that out over the course of the season. So
Yeah.
they'd know how to add a little bit more weight so they could run the tires
They
down.
can plan further.
Yeah.
Completely.
So it's not like they didn't know these tires could go for like an entire race distance almost. So
Yeah.
why not just make sure you don't I don't know. It's just, yeah, you're right. I think it's just complacency, but it's also like, I think it's just this cop out constantly of, oh, well, I don't know if the track provides good racing. It's like, no, the track is fine. It's the cars and the
We're
fucking
talking about
tires.
Spa here. We're not. It's what are the
It's
characteristics
not Monaco,
needed?
you know, like
Yeah, it's wide enough. There are areas. It's not a case
it's
where
got
there is
hard
only
braking
one.
zones.
Yeah, it's not a case where there is only one area where you can overtake. You can
Mm-hmm.
overtake T1, T5.
Yeah.
Then there's the bus stop chicane. You can overtake. People have overtaken at, I think it was just after Pujon. They overtake. Lewis overtook Gasly at that very point. So there are areas where you can overtake, but the thing is, you have to create the pace difference. How do you do that? Have tires that degrade. That's one of the basic thing. Because what has happened is, and it should be common knowledge by now, the braking distances they've reduced significantly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
most of the overtakes are done at braking points. Now the braking zones why have they reduced? Because now we are at brake by wire. Brake by wire means it's a very efficient way, but the distance that the decelerating distance that used to be there, that used to be much larger earlier in the day. Now it's much smaller. That means the possibility to pull off overtakes, it decreases. You have to be more precise. You have to have a bigger variance in performance. Now, once that's not there, how else are you going to do it? They are not focusing on these things, and I don't know. I think it's the easy answer was have softer tires,
Yeah.
at least for now. If
I
you
just
can't
think
do
this.
anything else, have softer tires and have longer DRS. How? This is only laziness that they did not increase the DRS zone. Just
But the-
laziness. That's
the
it.
only reason, like for that, yeah, increasing the DRS zone should have been the case. Again, like if it's a case of, oh well, it's because of the braking or whatever. It's like let
nothing.
the teams figure that out. Like that's, you know, you just give make the racing better, and let the teams fucking figure it out. They've got 1,000 staff each, full of engineers, full of race engineers. If it's like, oh, well, we're not sure about this, it's like, the teams are there to figure that out. Yeah. Give them the circumstances, let them figure it out. I just like the tires annoy me because I know why they're like just have 3 tires. Because Americans now run this sport, and no offense, Americans, but they like things to be simple. You know, you've got 400 fucking choices of toothpaste and 2 political parties. Like, what the fuck is wrong with your country? But like the simple thing is, they want it to be that if anyone starts to watch this, say, oh, okay, yeah, that's the soft tire, the medium tire, and the hard tire. Whereas if you went, yeah, we've got super soft, ultra soft, hyper soft, erection, you know, all these different tires, then it will make it complicated. But it's like, I don't care. Like, make the racing better. You know, you can figure out how to tell the tires apart, you know? Yeah. Like, you could literally just go, he's on the 10 tire, which is the hardest, and the 1 tire, which is the softest. Yeah. Fine. You know, Max has put a 2 on. Fine. Like, whatever it needs to be to make it simple. At least just make the racing
product
better.
Should be watchable, right?
Yes, yeah. And then zero I cannot stress this enough. Stop putting the pressure on the FIA to fix dirty air. They are never going to fix it. They've been trying for 20 years. Force the teams to fix the dirty air and make it a situation like look how they fix safety. They put all of the safety pressure essentially on the teams. You have this plank, you have this cell. If you don't pass the tests, or if you wear the plank down, you are disqualified. Yeah. How often the fucking teams run the plank down? Very, very rarely, right? So make the teams fix the dirty air. Put sensors on the back. You're allowed X turbulence. I don't know. Some clever engineer can figure out what the fucking turbulence levels can be, how they can be measured, and go, right, you were 1% over the dirty air limit for this race. You're disqualified. There will no longer be dirty air within a season because the engineers will figure it out. Simple as. And they'll figure out ways to get around it, as always, and it'll make for some great engineering talk. You know, but the problem, just fix it.
Yeah, you know, the problem is they started focusing on this thing on raceability, but now with the next regulation, they just moved away from it. There's zero talk of it because and the reason is simple. It's money and it's short term thinking. It's always short term thinking. Yeah. Anyways,
no, literally, you're right. It was like, let's make the racing better, and then it was like, oh, Audi and Porsche are over there. Come on in, guys. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, forget about the racing now. It doesn't matter anymore.
That's what they've done. They've basically what they've done is they've gone ahead. They first created the PU, which actually made all these constructors happy. Once that was done, then they focused on the aerodynamics.
Yeah.
And they've done such a hodgepodge of the entire thing.
I agree wholeheartedly with I think it was Gary Anderson was talking about the size and weight of the cars, you know, and he was like, yeah, but the FIA were told by some engineers or whatever that like basically. Someone said to him, it's like the engineers were told by the teams and stuff that they don't think they'll be able to make the cars 10 or 15% smaller or whatever it is, lighter. Yeah. Gary Anderson was like, and he's like, tell them these are the restrictions. The cars are now 10 or 15% smaller. And he's like, I guarantee you those engineers will show up with cars that are 10 or 15% smaller. Yeah. But as soon as you tell them this is the weight and size that you need to be or whatever, that's what they're going to work towards. You tell them the cars have to be half the size they are now. You think it's an impossible task. They will show up with those cars being half. Yeah. So the dirty air for me, that just seems like the simplest solution. And I think I'm just sick of every single generation is like, well, we're going to fix the dirty air. To the point where in 2017 they were like, let's just make the cars fast. Yeah, but they don't. They think about it, as you said, short term. Because remember, it was like 2017, they just went, yeah, fuck the dirty air. Let's just make the cars faster. Yeah. So they just, anyway, moving on.
Every regulation, you're just picking one thing and trying to do that. And what happens is the original problems, they remain. And that's been the case with the entire situation. And again, it's an interesting question when they say that Spa has not had a classic race for forever. Yeah, it hasn't. But you know why? Because 2010 to 2013, there was one team that dominated.
Yeah.
2014 till 2020, there was again one team that dominated. And the same happened, even now. Max won races from 14th or 15th on the grid. How are you going to have classic races when a driver can literally romp through the entire field?
Yep.
You can't.
Yeah.
It's just the reality. And that's what the people really don't want to understand. You look at basic dumb data and try to form your opinions, and that's always the wrong way to go about these things. Cause yeah, anyways, let's
It's just like I said, it's just like until it's the tires and dirty air, and until they fix those, we're just going to keep having these issues. You know, like
pretty much,
and it's just
pretty much.
they're just not rocket science issues to figure out. Like I don't get why someone in there hasn't just gone, well, why don't we just give more tires? You know, anyway, look, we've talked about it enough. I just don't know why they can't figure this out when they've got so many people working on it.
Yeah.
You know,
And then you've got dummies claiming that Spa is not a good track. Yeah, okay, fine. Go race in Miami. That's a great track.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know when we have good races, when teams are like forced to play with strategy and are on the limit, that's when we have good races.
Imola.
Yeah.
Again, Imola is a shit track, has been a shit track when it comes to racing. We had a brilliant race this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, wow.
Next up, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about how Charles Leclerc beat Max Verstappen, or you want to talk about the first who won the race?
Let's really quickly talk about the McLarens because there's not much to talk about. So let's just talk about it.
There's actually quite a bit.
What?
Apparently, there's always something, right? So in your view, because okay, first let me call out one thing, which is the blatant hypocrisy of a lot of fan bases. Because yesterday, Max made a mistake in qualifying, right, and that's why he was P4, not P3, and you had some people calling it that Max bottled it, and that infuriated a lot of people. But then those same people today are claiming that Lando bottled it. Like Max can make mistakes. That's not bottling. But when someone else does it, it's bottling. And yeah. Anyways, so first of all, your view. Do you think Lando bottled it, or how do you see the entire situation?
Yes, I do, but not like. Look, in the qualifying, he did a good. He was first, right? He was on pole.
Yeah,
so like in the qualifying, he did a good job. So yeah, look, all drivers make mistakes, especially when they're driving on the limit. Like, because when you try and push past that limit, you make mistakes because the limiting factor is the car. For anyone wondering, Max can't change physics. I'm sick of talking about it. But yeah, Norris, where he threw it away, was a couple of things for me, which was like track position here. They should have known was always going to be, and they probably did know. I'm sure they did know, but track position here was always going to be king, especially after last year. We saw that. We've seen it time and time again. That long DRS straight, the Kemmel straight now, it's just like, unless you've got a serious offset, it's just too hard to overtake. We've just discussed this for 25 minutes, so I won't get back into it. But I think he went too fast during the safety car restart. He went way too early. And that was immediately shown because by the time he got down the Kemmel straight, he was complaining that his battery was gone. It was like, yes, you went way too fucking early, so you had no battery by the end of the Kemmel straight.
Apparently there was some. No, Zach Brown is saying this. I don't know how true it is.
I don't buy it.
He's saying that there was a battery issue.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I just immediately, as soon as he went, I screamed at the TV. I was like, bit early there, Lando. So just because I knew, I was like, that's it. He's going to be taken down the straight. He hasn't caught Oscar. And then the other thing was like, I don't know what he was thinking. Like Oscar, maybe it's just his feel for the brake still, but like as soon as Oscar came alongside, he braked way too early, holding the inside. Like he should have ran Oscar out of room there. And he just,
Oscar
I just think
was ahead, right? He was
far. Yeah, he overtook, but he just the two of them were slowing down. I think by that point, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know.
He was gone.
I just think
he just weird for me as well because how easily Oscar just
probably because of the battery, I guess, right? Yeah, maybe. It was just yeah. But I don't know. Maybe it was inevitable with the slipstream and stuff there on the first lap. But I don't know. I just feel like Lando's constantly getting the better of taken of him by Oscar, and it's like surely you should know better by now. Like Oscar's not gonna he's not gonna wait. Like if there's even a slight inkling, he's gonna go around the outside. He's gonna take you. He's gonna go wherever he needs to go to just overtake you. Like as soon as he gets a chance, he'll get the better of even someone like Max. Oscar will. We've seen that a couple of times already. So it's like, look, Lando, like Oscar's going to don't give him anything. So why burn your battery out coming down to the bus stop chicane? Like, why not wait until you're through that section and then go, I don't know.
He burned his battery out at the bus stop chicane.
No, but his battery was gone by the time they went down the Kemmel straight, which I think is why Oscar was so easily catching him, Now, maybe there was an issue. Like, maybe there's an issue and nothing he could do. But as soon as he said like battery's gone and then it was immediately back, I was like, I think that's just because he went too early. So he like tried to blast off with battery down to the, to grab an exit.
Out of T1, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, after qualifying, I had to make I write the race prediction thing, right? So I picked Oscar for a very simple reason, because I don't think out of T1 when you're starting the race there was in any which way Lando was going to hold on to it.
Yeah.
It has been it was very, very strong, the kind of slipstream effect that is there, just because we've seen it now, the way Max got ahead of Oscar. Max was around half a second or around 6 tenths behind.
Yeah.
As soon as you pass Oruj, he was right alongside him. And that's not entirely because he had a lower downforce wing.
That was in the sprint, right? The lower downforce. Yeah.
And that is something I expected to happen. So as soon as the restart was there, I was expecting Oscar to get the jump on him. And I don't know. Maybe the restart he could have done it better, because I think he maybe jumped, as you said, he jumped a bit early. So that is one area where I think
way
Lando
too
was
early.
Way too early. Yeah.
I think his mindset though was catching, because he didn't want to go yet. Like he was on the radio basically saying, "Oh, we're not ready yet," or whatever. So
yeah.
I think that the typical Lando nerves got the better of him.
Seems like it, right? Yeah. Could be,
and
possibly.
Maybe he like gunned it and then immediately was like, "Oh, bad decision." But then you're locked in, so then run the battery down, because he ran the battery down and the team were like, "Should be back now." Like that was a very like. Yeah, it was you. Like you ran the battery.
Yeah, because the battery was down, and I think he was around a second or so behind, just like that, by the end of the first lap. And that's a lot of gap to just open up out of nowhere. And I think it was entirely down to the battery thing, and how that happened. I guess we'll never know. But Zach Brown says that there was some battery issue. Lando says it should not have had an impact on the race, but again, it did. So we don't really know exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah. Even then, if that happened, I personally did not think he was going to keep a hold of it. Even during the sprint, I knew Max was going to get the jump on Oscar, because that's just how the straight is. That's just how it happens. Once that was done, I think from that point onwards, I think the race was done, because Lando could get closer to Oscar, but you just cannot overtake. That was the big problem.
To be honest, I kind of expected Oscar to beat like Lando as soon as the weekend started anyway, because from free practice one, like, I think both of us, I said Max, I think I said for the Grand Prix, Max, Oscar, George, because after last year I thought George would go well around here. It turns out something went really wrong with the Mercedes. And I had no faith in Ferrari, which normally is, But yeah, I thought Max would win, and after the sprint, obviously, I was like, oh, very nice. But then on Saturday, as soon as they were like, we switched to switched to more downforce, I was like, I don't know. I don't think this is going to... Because I was like, as soon as you add more downforce, the McLaren is going to be the better car. Like, the only way to beat the McLaren would be to be fast.
Max to win even on Sunday after what you'd seen in the sprint?
No. I expected him to win still, like after the sprint. I thought, right, okay. Like kind of the sprint showed kind of what I was thinking. They were going to be very, very quick in the straight lines, right? But then on Saturday morning when I was watching the qualifying, as soon as they mentioned, Max has added some downforce, my brain just went, McLaren's going to win then. Because as soon as you add that downforce, McLaren's got you everywhere, So before you've got sector 1, sector 2, or sector 3 and McLaren sector 2, but you can just overtake and then hold off around sector 2. But as soon as he added the downforce, I was like, with extra downforce on, McLaren's got this. That's that. And then I kind of thought Oscar's going to win, because Oscar from FP1 all the way up to qualifying, apart from qualifying, Oscar had the measure of Lando throughout it all by a lot. Yeah. And then it was just this random, like, it was like, oh, Lando's on pole. That's odd. And then, so I was kind of expecting it, to be honest. It's just like, I just thought to myself, there's no way Oscar's not getting the better of Lando here. And then that's what happened. Yeah.
I mean, for me as well, I think that was the point where it's like, okay, fine, that's done. It's over. And even picking hard tire, okay, maybe they tried something different. But to be fair, I don't think the hard tire was the preferred race tire for anyone, because no one went for it. it was not the first choice for anyone on the entire grid. So Lando, again, he ran the entire stint on it. I don't think it was optimal for him in any which way. So once that is happening, it just makes me. And again, a lot of times during the entire race, they were saying, okay, he's closing up, he's catching him. At no point I thought or felt that there was any scope of of Lando catching Oscar or even getting
Yeah.
ahead of him. It didn't really
No.
seem like it because the tires were not falling off a cliff. And if that is not happening, there is no way.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
way you're actually going to have overtakes. So
It was like by kind of 10 laps past that, 11 laps past that, it became pretty obvious. It was like, look, there's very little Deg here, because Oscar talked about Deg for a minute and then it kind of went away. And as soon as that happened, my thinking was, it's probably just one of those kind of, it's grained a bit and then you've run through the graining and it's fine now. You know, we see it all the time.
even the
Yeah.
people behind them, right? Charles and Max, they were fine. I mean, they
Yeah.
even they didn't suffer any tire issues, and it was surprising because none of them even talked about, okay, this is going to be our first stint, we are going to pit or anything. They were just, yeah, okay, this is the tire and we are going ahead with it. While
Yeah.
McLaren was in two minds, and even though
I
McLaren tends to have the best tire deck on the entire grid.
Yeah, see, this is what I think. I reckon it was a case of they knew how much they had lost on the in-lap, out-lap kind of, the engineering side, Lando's side.
Yeah.
And I think as well, they knew Lando's confidence was gone a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was just a snap decision of, look, between the medium and hard, we're going to finish 1-2 regardless. So let's just give him a different option and see if
Maybe,
it makes a
yeah,
difference.
roll the dice, yeah.
Just see what happens. Because if Oscar did fall off a cliff in, say, the 35th, 36th lap and had to pit, then he's not getting past Lando again. There's no way. So I think it was just like, this is likely the outcome. Let's just roll the dice,
Yeah.
see what happens here. We're not going
Yeah,
to
it was-
lose anything.
Even if
so.
he was on mediums, he was not making up 9 seconds, right?
No. So
really
I think
the
it was
whole
just
thing was-
let's just see what happens here. I think that's all it was.
One thing about
yeah.
the title battle, how long is it going to stay this cordial? Because I'm slightly baffled. Are these two not understanding how high the stakes are? Because I don't know, they leave stuff on the table sometimes. It just seems, which is
Well, I think this is the thing. I don't know, because I think the realization after the summer break will set in on Lando, at least, that Max is no longer in the championship, right? Because I think Lando's mindset from the start of the season was probably, I'll be fighting Max this year. And I think until a couple of races ago, that was probably still like, well, don't count out Max. Whereas I think now it's like, right now you can officially count out Max. Like, it's over, right? For Red Bull and for anyone else. So it's a two horse race. For Oscar, I think Oscar, and like, he's proven he's been the better driver on the whole this year so far. Oscar, I don't know. I don't think he blows up as much unless you have more like Silverstone events where things start,
they're not blowing up as such, but starting to throw your weight around in the team.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that happens this year. I think McLaren actually, I was a bit baffled by their way of thinking, where they were actually willing to like pit the garages against each other before. But now I'm thinking about it as, this is a really good decision, because that's a good outlet where you've just openly said, look, guys, pit walls here in case it gets too much, but otherwise you and your teams work together to go against each other.
Yeah.
And you guys play your games, that's fine. And I think that's probably a good thing, because otherwise you get situations where I think it blows up more, where, Red Bull, for example, or Mercedes start putting engineers to one side to help a driver and so on. I think by letting the garages fight and by having it as like this inter-team battle, you almost deflate a lot of that tension, because now it's like, okay, right, we're in a proper fight. And if we start throwing shit at each other, the pit wall is going to intervene. So it's easier for us to just say our separate sides, fight each other with our engineers and so on. And a lot of that, I think that alleviates a lot of the stress, because you can, if things go wrong with Lando, for example, and like Oscar's pissed off about something that happens, his blowout is with his engineering team, not with Lando. It's like, why did you give me that decision? So it keeps that pressure kind of in that bubble. And I think it's a clever way to make it that you're kind of fighting each other as if you're not teammates. I do think it was a smart
They
idea.
still treat each other as teammates. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. It's an odd setup that we haven't really
seen
seen
before, right?
this before.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've
So
seen teammates fight, but it tends to. But again, I don't know it. Uh,
the other thing is, it also is very, very rare where we get not like a bespoke team leader, because the thing is, like Lando, you would have assumed would have been the team leader, but when you don't have a championship behind you, it's hard to hold that team leader status because you're kind of equal regardless, you know. I think most of the time when we see these inter-team battles, normally a top team has at least one championship driver driving for them, or they have like in Red Bull's case up until 2021, they had a real bespoke, like, this is our driver, you know. There was a clear number one, number two. The last time we've seen this has been Button and Fisichella, probably 2009, right? Where we haven't had
Barrichello.
Barrichello. Sorry, but yeah, sorry. I'm thinking fucking Alonso. My bad. Is Alonso, no? The Fisichella and Alonso, or was it Schumacher and
No, 2005.
Yeah.
And Button and Fisichella worked together as well at Benetton. Yeah.
Right, makes sense. That's where I'm getting confused. Yeah, but Barrichello and Button was the last time we've seen that. And even then, like, Button got the clear lead pretty quickly. So it just, you know, there wasn't really a discussion as such.
The dominance was already set. Yeah, I agree with you on that. My worry is if it stays this cordial, again, McLaren might win. It will make the championship a bit boring, honestly. Because if you don't have the intensity, these two don't battle as much on track. Again, that's thanks to the regulation.
Yeah, and in 2009, we had the Max in Vettel kind of on the periphery, where if they started fucking up, he was right there.
There was,
you know, like,
there was Vettel there. There was even Weber was there. There were other characters which made things interesting. Right now, it's becoming a bit like.
Whereas now it's kind of like if Max gets a win at the next race or whatever, Oscar can kind of sit back and go, right, well, that's not my fight anyway, so I don't need to put the pressure on. Yeah. It's like,
it happened in the sprint. Oscar just let him win. Oscar didn't really try to put any lunges or something in play because
because he's like, I'm not going to throw away points for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like, if it was Lando ahead, he probably would have, you know, but obviously 1 point, as well, doesn't,
didn't
not
really
worth
make much sense.
Yeah. But if that was Lando ahead, he's probably putting more pressure on, you know. Yeah.
And I think that's what it is going to be, because next up it's Hungary even, and it's just going to be a back and forth again and again and again. One driver has a good weekend and again the points gap either increases
Let's see though, because look, I think if like Oscar is the type of character to take those lunges, you know, and it only takes one miscalculation where like Lando doesn't think Oscar's going to, where Oscar goes for any gap he sees. Lando doesn't see it coming, you know, because I'm not expecting Lando to be the one who closes the door. He just doesn't do it. He just doesn't do it. I expected him to be more aggressive this year and he just hasn't been. But I could see a situation where Oscar goes for it. There's a miscalculation. The two of them hit. And that's when you could have, you know, tensions rise very quickly, you know.
Could have happened at Austria, right?
Yeah. But yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how any of them establishes any kind of momentum, because it's been one win here, two wins there, then one win here, then just the back and forth. It's a bit like who has a good Sunday.
They're under orders from FOM to make sure it goes till the last race, obviously. So that's
and Lando wins because British bias. So.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Even though the FOM's American, not British, but anyway. Yeah.
Exactly.
And the FIA is French, not British. You know, two countries that have had interesting histories with Britain. But anyway,
interesting is a good word.
Yeah. Anyway, let's jump on to the important topic that Leclerc is officially better than Max Verstappen, right?
Yeah. So, first of all, the most important thing, the amount of, again, I mean, it shouldn't surprise us, but it's still, you know, there's this thing, fool me once,
blame on you.
No. Fell for it again, right? That's the whole thing with the whole Donald Trump thing, the fell for it again. Yeah. That actually fits here as well perfectly, because every time Ferrari promises something big is coming, they had this whole filming day and whatever, and apparently this suspension is going to be the panacea of the entire problems that the car has had. and then it was a distant third for Leclerc in the race, and I think a fourth in the sprint.
Yeah.
The season's done for them as well, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
But like, did anyone not expect this? I don't know. Like this seems like this just seems like inevitable with Ferrari. You know, this is
Yeah.
just what it is.
It doesn't change, right? None of
No.
this changes. It's
The
completely.
problem is like it will start to change if they just kind of keep things calm and keep digging down. But we know what's going to happen here. We're going to get to the end of the season. Ferrari's going to be like fourth in the championship or whatever. Fred's going to get
No, they'll
fired.
be
And we're going to
second.
have
They'll be second.
fine. But we'll have Fred's going to get fired because second isn't good enough. And then we're going to have team principal X take over for 2026. And we're going to go on this cycle again
Yeah.
of, you know. So Lewis Hamilton fans, welcome to Ferrari. Like this is just, I don't know. Like this just,
This doesn't change, but and then that's why this weekend was so important, because
yeah.
how many times is Charles Leclerc, and I've seen it so many times. Every time he just needs one bad weekend and everyone's like, Charles is poor. He's
Yeah.
never going to win a championship. He might never win a championship if he continues to
That's
stick in
because he's
that
driving
stupid
for Ferrari.
team. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's his fault. It's this, what's the word? Someone who derives pleasure out of getting pain, masochistic or something.
Masochism.
Yeah, masochism. Yeah. He has that in him, because why else would he just stick at Ferrari for 7 years and not even have even single
I do like
title?
the idea that from now on we should just call the Ferrari team 50 Shades of Red. Because people just go there to get beaten.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe. Submission is... Because why else is he doing something on these lines? And this weekend, Ferrari should not be on the podium. Frankly, it
No.
should not be on the podium.
No.
He dragged that lap in qualifying out of nowhere.
I mean, look, Max was in the fastest car and Leclerc beat him in the 9th fastest car. I think that's obvious,
There is going to be a fan base that actually thinks like that as well. I'm not going to discount anyone.
Yeah.
And honestly, he was around 3 or so tenths behind the McLaren duo, which was a surprise in qualifying. And just the final push lap where he beat Max. I mean, Max also made an error coming out of T1.
Yeah.
Just that helped him gain.
To be fair as well, he massive credit to Leclerc because they kept the low downforce setup on, right? Which obviously made it really tricky to drive in the wet. Yeah. And I know the wet went away relatively quickly thanks to the FIA and FOM deciding we don't race in the wet anymore. But he still had to stick out those kind of 12 laps with Verstappen behind you.
With Max behind him.
Yeah. It's not like if it was Norris behind you, you'd be like, yeah, whatever. But it's Max behind you. So, and Max went for it a couple of times, and he held it off very, very well in a car that was like you could see was sliding all over the place. Yeah. And then, to be honest, once he got through that, I was like, yeah, Max isn't getting by because now as soon as it gets dry, you're on the slicks. He's got the straight line advantage and it's going to be very difficult to pass him in
Even
sector
then,
2.
it got a bit critical when they were all stuck behind Ocon.
Yeah.
And it was, I think it was first Leclerc who just got the jump early and he just pretty much took off. And then you had Max fending off George for a couple of laps.
Yeah.
These are elite drivers. And I sincerely wish we get at least one season where Max, Leclerc both have the fastest car and a team that does not sabotage itself.
I want one
season at least.
I want a season with like 3 cars really close. We get George, Piastri, Max, Leclerc, like these guys. Because these guys are epic. Like Norris, very, very quick. But he just doesn't have the killer instinct of those other guys. And I know people are probably going, George, killer instinct. Like, look, George has made a lot of incredible passes, like aggressive passes, especially on starts over the last couple of years. And I'm now officially, according to Twitter, as I've been painted as a George Russell fan. But my point is he's shown a couple of times. And the only thing that goes against him, people are 2023 Singapore. So yes, everyone's had a bad race, you fucking prick. Like, what is wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not pointing at any single person there, by the way. There's a lot of people who will bring that up. Know? But I would love to see those guys race. Leclerc just, I don't know though. Like, did we ever not think Leclerc was incredible? Like, we know Leclerc can fight Verstappen.
A lot of people who think that
idiots,
way, and
absolute idiots.
foolish. Honestly, it's just foolish the way they go about it. And
Idiots who think
then there
that-
there are geniuses who think that since Leclerc has been
these
at
are
the
the
team
type
for
of
7
peop-
years. Yeah.
Yeah. But these are the type of people who will say Verstappen won in the 7th fastest car, right? And then like, because I believe there's a question on Twitter about this later, which we'll answer. But the point is, they'll say like, oh, Verstappen won in the 7th fastest car. And then at this race, well, you know, he came home in 4th in the 7th fastest car. It's like, oh, so what you're saying is he just didn't drive good enough today then? Like, because you're telling me he can win in the 7th fastest car. So why did he lose in the 7th fastest car? Like, you know. So these people just don't understand that.
Red Bull was the second fastest car this weekend.
Yes, it
At least
was.
in my view, right?
Yeah.
And Max should have been on the podium. He isn't. And again, it's not a slight on him.
And
He's
it's not
human.
just Max.
He can make mistakes.
But it's also just Ferrari took a massive gamble with setup, right? A massive gamble with setup in reality. And most drivers on the grid would have fucking succumbed to Max there because they didn't have the grip. Whereas Leclerc didn't.
It was
Leclerc held it together.
10 or 7 or 8 laps of brilliant defensive driving. And I think everyone knew.
There's only 2, 3, 4 drivers maybe on the entire grid who could have done that. Yeah. And the two of those were fighting each other. Verstappen and Leclerc.
Yeah.
And Leclerc happened to be ahead
sometimes.
So, yeah.
And you know, that's why I love Max.
I just think people sorry, the last thing. I just think people like I explained this in a big long message the other day where I was like, the thing is, engineers love building cars that are absolutely incredible. I'll discuss this properly later because I think we have a question. I want to discuss it later. But my point is, well, no, we don't have a question on this. We have a question about Max's car, and I think it's a perfect time to do that quick rant. So I'll do it later. But my point is, like, these drivers are way closer than everyone thinks, and it, like, you know, the top tier drivers are so close to one another that it's, and this is like, we don't get this all the time. You know, there's 5 or 6 drivers on the grid who, if you put them in the same car, every weekend would be within a tenth of one another. Yeah. Like, you know, every single weekend. So if you put George, Leclerc, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Alonso as well, to be fair to him, you know, and Lewis. Hamilton, if you could bring him back from 2018, if you put them all in the same car, right, they would drive very, very, very close to each other each weekend. And Norris as well would have a few weekends there before bottling it the rest of the season. But those guys are so close to each other. And Leclerc, as you said, just doesn't get enough credit. And I don't know, Leclerc in 2022, when he had an equal car, essentially it was close enough for half a season, he led the championship. I know that's partly due to, you know, mainly due to issues with reliability for Max. But even without reliability, they were very, very close.
He beat Max in Bahrain.
But this is my point. Like, reliability issues are why the gap was so big for part of the season, points-wise. If you took those reliability issues out, they would have been with a point or two of each other the whole way through that half of a season. So, you know, like, it's just...
And we saw some high-quality racing whenever we got the chance. And here's the thing. Max Verstappen, in my view, the best driver in Formula One since Michael Schumacher.
I agree.
The way he's handling his career right now, it makes me take a step back in terms of where he's going. Because Michael did not do these kind of things.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? This is like, as I said in that recent Vettel episode, right? That people got annoyed, which was like in 2013, the end of 2013, a lot of people were talking about Vettel the same way people are talking about Verstappen. Who is the youngest
world champion?
Vettel.
2-time, 3-time, 4-time.
4-time, Vettel, yep.
All of them. It's not Max Verstappen, by the way. In case people don't know. He achieved those accolades at a younger age than Max did.
And he also did it in a shorter time span. Yeah. But to be fair, that's because Formula One's mainly about the fucking car, just to remind some people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just we need to see how the rest of his career goes before we can judge how good he is. But at the moment, right now, he is the best driver since Schumacher, in my opinion. And that's not because of the titles or the stats or anything else. For me, it's because of how he goes racing, how he shows up every weekend, and he's not willing to fucking leave anything go.
Yeah.
However, as you said, at the moment, that I think is being decayed a little bit because he seems to be...
Not even that. I think when I'm saying he's the best driver in Formula One, it doesn't mean that on their day, drivers like Leclerc, even Lando to a certain extent, Oscar, George, Lewis, Alonso, they cannot beat him.
Schumacher
No
didn't
such
win
case.
every weekend.
But he did.
But you know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. Like, yeah, even Schumacher got beaten,
The
on
case with
occasion.
Schumacher was he eclipsed everyone a bit too much. You had a Mika Hakkinen who could live with him, but there weren't that many. Max is probably in one of the more competitive fields.
This
as
is
in
the difference as
talent
well,
is
yeah.
much
Yeah.
more dense. And these
But even then, there's only
my
a
pet peeve
handful
is
of drivers at the moment that are even close.
there are look,
four
there
or
are
five, yeah.
at least how many race winners are there in Formula 1 right now in out of 20?
Oh, a lot.
9
But
or
then,
10?
like, Gasly's nowhere close to Verstappen, and he's a race winner. So let's,
Yeah. There are 10 race winners right now in Formula 1, and
it's a very competitive field, essentially. Yeah.
precisely. And what we have to understand is, again, Max might beat everyone in the same car, but it's going to be bloody competitive against these top 4 or 5 drivers.
It's going to be tight.
And for me, the biggest, it has become my pet peeve right now, because everyone is just they just ridicule any talent that's not Max Verstappen. It's basically the Max Verstappen fan base is going the same path that the Lewis Hamilton fan
It's
base
always
went.
the same, though.
And I hate that.
It's
I
always
really
the
hate
same,
that,
though.
because
Yeah.
and that devalues what Max does. That's my entire problem right now, because he's brilliant. But if you're telling me that he'll be half a second faster than a Leclerc or a George or anyone else, then you're fooling yourself. It's not the case. And this
If
weekend
you want,
proved
look,
it.
I'll tell you what. If you want, let me just read my rant here, because I think it sums up exactly how I feel about the whole thing. Right?
Go for
Which
it.
is where the fuck is it now? Let me see. Give me a sec. Jesus, I jump in and like I'm just looking at replies here, and there's like a few where I literally have replied to something, and then someone's gone on a rant, and I just haven't seen it because I don't have notifications on, and I literally,
Twitter thing.
yeah, I just get bored. I jump on for like 5 minutes, and then immediately just like get off, and then people just go nuts. It's really funny.
It's become a bit too much right now for me. That there are, every time I just open X, there are 100 notifications, and I'm not going to go through every one of them.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
what happens is there are a lot of people who I end up not replying, and sometimes I get pissed off.
Yeah. Now I wrote this after a few drinks, so if I reread it and see it wrong, maybe let's see. But
No,
anyway,
you sent it to me.
said-
I've read it. Yeah.
oh, okay. It was like long rant here, but this is how I actually feel about Max and the RB21, which is I love winding people up on this app, as you well know. But jokes aside, F1 is meant to be the ultimate expression of man and machine in sync. Nui and other engineers love drivers like Max because they are the type of drivers who can handle things to the limit like few others, like very few in history. The RB21 driven by an AI would be incredibly fast, but would probably still be the second fastest car this year. Max drives it almost like an AI. I should have put almost, but yeah, almost like an AI. They've made a car that's incredibly hard to drive, pushing it close to that limit of physics and grip, and then they've tuned it to Max's limits. They are now second fastest, meaning even Max is struggling because he's human and operating in a very narrow performance window. He can't be on the limit the whole time because humans will make mistakes. A tiny mishap pushes you over that limit, e.g. the Silverstone spin, for example. Yet most of the time he's there. That's incredibly impressive. That for me makes Max the best driver since Schumacher. And my issue is that for some fans, this isn't enough. They don't want to appreciate the engineering, so Max has to be magic. That's odd to me. And I use the word odd instead of gay because I got shouted at for using the word gay recently.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'd seen that as well.
yeah. Because what I said was like, yeah, I think I said something of along the lines of like
You'll only
worshipping
make it worse.
No, I just said worshipping Max like this. Don't know. It seems kind of gay. And the guy was like, "You're using gay in the derogatory term," and I was like, "I never used it in the derogatory term. You've just taken it that way." I just said it seems kind of gay to love another man like that. It seems kind of gay. But yeah, that's my point. Like we're literally going like, this is the best driver since Schumacher. He's incredible. And if we're not like, yeah, all the other drivers are shit, apparently we're bashing Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
Like it's just, for me, it's like, look, that level is cult LH from a year or two ago. Yeah. So that's fine. Like if you're a Max fan and that's the way you think, that like Max is this god who is the only reason the car is fast and he's 100% better than everyone else, that's fine. But just remember, 2 years ago, you guys were literally shouting at Cult LH for being delusional, and now you're right there with them. So
You're doing the same thing.
If the sentence Max is the best driver since Schumacher isn't good enough for you, then please
Something's
just
wrong with you.
go to the corner, like open up the door and sit in that. Or I was going to say something about walled mattresses, but anyway, you're in a mental institution. Is my point? Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes.
Now let's talk about. Well, we will talk a bit about Ferrari and the second driver at Ferrari. I mean, second driver as in other than Charles, not
Number 2 driver.
Your words, not mine. So
Number 2 driver. Very expensive number 2 driver.
Baxter gets very offended these days when I say something on those lines. Apparently, he got pissed at me even heading in date.
I wouldn't be surprised if he got pissed at me because I put up something like that's a big mistake from their expensive number 2 driver. Yeah, but anyway, when he spun off in qualifying.
Yeah,
that's how he is at the minute. But if he had it qualified better, anyway, we'll talk about it in a minute. What's your next thing?
So apparently Lewis is on. he's pretty much on this mission of revealing stuff which he's not supposed to. So
which Ferrari love.
Yeah,
historically
speaking.
By the way.
So apparently it was on Friday, right? Yeah, the Friday there was a spin during the sprint quali. He had that. On Saturday, he made the error on track limits and basically was again eliminated in Q1. Fine, have those errors, happens. I mean, it's part of the sport. I was a bit... my initial reaction was that he didn't really make an error. There was something wrong with the car where the rear stepped out. Mm-hmm. But apparently, Ferrari was quite firm in saying that he made an error. So once that was said, on the very next day, he comes out and says that, there was a new component which was first introduced on Leclerc's car in Canada. And since now it has been introduced in my car, if you remember, Leclerc also spun in Canada. So maybe something similar is happening to me here. Now, there was no such disclosure by Ferrari when it comes to upgrades in Canada. And Leclerc did spin, but it was more a case of the front having some issues, the front being unstable. It was primarily due to the car up front. The dirty air played a role. Here, there was no dirty air, nothing. The two incidents were pretty much entirely different. Now, while he did that, he basically said that the new whatever component is, that played a role. Now, the whole thing with him disclosing something like this is that there is no disclosure in the FIA upgrades. There's no such thing. Yeah. Apparently, it was the brakes.
No, I mean, technically, if it's already been introduced on the car in Canada, you wouldn't have to disclose it here. But you're saying it wasn't disclosed in Canada.
No disclosure.
Yeah. So my point is, no, just in case anyone says like, oh, that's because if they introduced it in Canada, you wouldn't see it here. It's like, but there was no disclosure in Canada either.
Precisely. So once that happened, he's basically put down the entire weekend on the brakes being an issue. Now, while he's done that, that's still understandable. Maybe so what has happened, by the way, how
come he was so fast in the race then?
It wasn't.
He came through the field in the race, right?
Yeah, he overtook.
So there was nothing wrong with the car in the race, though. He didn't spin in the race.
No, there was
or anything.
nothing wrong as such. He said he's still adapting to the new brake compounds.
He's been adapting to the new car since fucking 2022, so he should probably speed that up.
Yeah, he should. I mean, for the money he gets. Wait, let me complete it, by the way. Apparently, when he's disclosed everything on Friday or early Saturday, that pissed some people off at Ferrari, and he was told off that please don't do something like this again.
Yeah.
And
no one's bigger than Ferrari.
Yeah, and apparently the Italian media caught wind of it, and even before the race, this thing was out on the Italian papers, and basically it was. I'll share with you the link of the article, and it was a bit damning piece because they went after Lewis. Again, they basically praised Charles a lot for the kind of qualifying he had, but also said that
for doing a great job.
Yeah, basically something similar on
driving the car.
He said it's 13 races now and Lewis is still adapting. That's what they said. So
he's the only driver on the grid still adapting.
I'd say every driver that has actually changed teams, they've struggled.
Sure, but he's
Carlos
the
has
only driver
struggled.
that's continually coming out with mistake or
Carlos,
excuses.
and
Yeah,
Carlos as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, but I mean, Carlos has said that it's on him, repeatedly.
That's the difference, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's something I think
And to be
pisses
fair
off
as well,
almost everyone.
when Carlos talks about his look, you're kind of like, all right, well, in fairness, most of the look he's talking about is either engine failures, which he physically can't do anything about, or Leclerc bashing him off track in Silverstone, which again, like, maybe he could not overtake, but, that's kind of the point of racing. So,
Yeah.
like, he can't do anything about that. Whereas Lewis is constantly, for 4 seasons, no, 5th season now, I believe, right? 22, 23, 24, 25, 24th. Has literally just constantly, instead of adapting to the car and saying like, oh, I can't adapt to this, he's just blaming the car and the setups and everything. And it's just the same. I just don't know why anyone thought this would be different. Like we said at the start of the season.
Honestly, I'm
we said
starting
it
to
all.
come around, by the way, on this entire thing that maybe Lewis is not that much of a downgrade or anything to Carlos. Because before this race, if you look at the points, the two were separated by 15 odd points, something like that. Once, and you don't see that kind of a points gap when you think how the season has gone. Because if you talk about the entire season, 12 races before this one, there was only one race weekend where I can say definitively that Lewis was the better driver. That
So
was
this
in
is my point.
Silverstone.
Like if
Yeah.
if Carlos was still there, do you think the second car would be doing better or worse? And my argument would be
But Lewis
either
would-
the
Now-
same or better.
my point is that even if Lewis has not been on the pace of Charles, what he's doing is bringing the car home almost every time. So he's
Wow.
not. Yeah, it's not a great thing.
That's
but
what
he's-
you want from a 7-time world champion. You're paying $100 million a year. Please just bring the car home.
I would not have signed him if I was at Ferrari.
No.
Yeah.
No one would except for Ferrari. Like,
Exactly.
what are you doing? Like, it's just
But I would still say that if you look
It's-
at the drivers that have changed teams, everyone has struggled. There's
sure.
other than I don't know who has
But all of-
maybe Hulkenberg has had a good one, but everyone
Yeah.
else has struggled.
But
to a large
how many of them are blaming parts and setups instead of
That's
themselves?
Lewis, yeah.
Like, and he's the most experienced one on the grid. Like, he should, like, he's the most experienced one on the grid. He's the highest paid one of the people that moved, right? He's the highest paid one in general, I think, with this deal, right? At the moment. I know
Max is
Verstappen.
ahead.
Is Verstappen still ahead? Is he? Okay. But, like, a huge payment that you're getting,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, just come in and fucking like adapt. So, but I just kept saying this last year. It's like, if he didn't adapt in 3 seasons at fucking Mercedes, how is he going to adapt and beat, like, he couldn't beat his teammate at Mercedes, right? And I know there's arguments people will make about that, but realistically, regardless of what way you look at it, even if you want to at best argue it, he was on par with George, right? I don't agree with that. George was ahead as far as I'm concerned on pretty much every
one
every
season,
metric. But even if you wanted to say they were on par, fine. How can you be on par with George at Mercedes, complaining constantly about setups and experiments and fucking every excuse you can think of in the fucking excuse dictionary, and think that going to Ferrari is going to be any better? And like, this is a guy as well that at times last year complained about strategy and setups at Mercedes, and you expect your fucking strategy and setup to be better at Ferrari?
To be fair, today,
If he had it qualified better.
no. To be fair, today his strategy was probably the best one. He was the first to make the move. Again,
I mean,
Ferrari
yeah, if he
made
had
the
it
call
qualified
and-
better, right? He
Yeah.
would have been on the podium probably.
No, he wouldn't. He would not have, cause, and that's the thing. Look, he looked great today, and you know why he looked great? Because he was competing against the Sabers, the Haas, basically the midfielders and backmarkers. He was not competing against the best cars in Formula One.
Yeah.
And once he reached that cliff, and once he was competing with the Albons and others, first he was apparently underfueled. Again, Ferrari, at least they have to do something, right? At least something. They underfueled him for some reason. So he couldn't really attack Albon. But even then, I don't think he had the pace to match Charles this weekend, because
No.
what Charles produced this weekend was, I think,
Brilliant.
Probably,
Yeah.
other than him, I think he had the perfect weekend this time around. and others maybe they messed up here and there a bit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how it happened. And
Leclerc
fine.
maximized that car all weekend
Yeah.
and was also put into a tricky situation of downforce and held it perfectly. So
My
we can't
point
ask
is,
much more.
yeah, my point is, even if we talk about Lewis, if he continues on this trajectory, because he's been improving, where he was at the start, he's not doing what he was doing at
Yeah,
Bahrain
yeah.
and Saudi,
Yeah.
where he was half a second off. At least he's done from that bit. I think next season, once you are starting from a clean slate, if he's willing to adapt, and if maybe the car is generically his more adept to his driving style, maybe things are closer. Maybe.
Maybe,
It could
but
be,
I
it
just,
could happen, but
I don't
I
know.
won't.
Like,
Yeah, I won't hold my breath on it, but it could happen.
I'm
It's
just,
like I
I was
don't think the
defensive of
situation is
Hamilton up until I was defensive of Hamilton up until Las Vegas last year,
I
as you
know.
well know. Was it last year at Las Vegas or 2023? It was last year, yeah. Up until he
that
made
long.
that fucking stupid comment. It's like,
Yeah, that
that's how
broke the
racing
dam.
works. That's how racing works, Lewis. You've been around long enough to fucking know that. But
Yeah,
it just, I don't know. It's just,
My point is it's
I'm tired
dumb.
of the same excuses, and it's annoying that Ferrari changed the driver lineup for this as well, because realistically, that's money they could have spent on the car.
I mean, look, there are teams that are actually firing Christian Horner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's another team that looked at Ferrari and thought they look
Yeah.
like they're making all the right decisions.
Yeah.
We should
Let's-
consider following
exactly.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great job on that front as well.
I saw a Verstappen fan today actually as well post online that they're hoping for 2027 Max goes to Ferrari, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I was going to respond and I was like, this person clearly doesn't watch Formula One. Like, you can't.
By the way, it's possibly an option. Because
Yeah.
by 2027, there will be a seat, at least one seat open
If
at
Max
Ferrari.
makes the decision to go to Ferrari, then he is the dumbest driver in Formula One.
Yeah. Anyways, just to cap it all off, I think at least for now, the Lewis Ferrari equation, I think it's not reached a point. It was at a point where it was unsustainable. The phase between Bahrain and Saudi, where it did appear that, okay, you cannot go on like this. You cannot be half a second off. Right now, he's there and thereabouts, and I think that's fine. If he takes another step, it would be good for him. Maybe he can start beating Leclerc
How do you
more.
think he'll feel next year when he's in the fourth fastest car and Mercedes are winning the title?
How can you be so optimistic that he'll be in the fourth fastest car? I mean, what are you talking about?
I'm being nice.
I mean, that kind of optimism for Ferrari in the new regulations.
I'm wearing red. Like,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Okay. I mean, next season is going to be a disaster for Ferrari, and I'm more sad for Leclerc because he keeps putting himself through all of this, and it's like there are better things to do.
I'm just hoping
Yeah.
Leclerc, basically 2026, if Ferrari don't show up with an absolute rocket ship, which they won't. But if that doesn't happen, I hope he just goes, right, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I really hope so, because he's getting into that age bracket now where he's not going to be able to.
It's starting to become a bit
Yeah.
tricky, right? Anyways, time to move on from all of this, right? Because we've spent a lot of time talking about. Oh, sorry. What was it? Yeah, by the way, Red Bull. So apparently
gosh.
I actually
We spent a lot of time talking about Max, Red Bull, Ferrari. So Red Bull.
we didn't talk about Red Bull.
I did.
There was a
we talked about
comment.
Max. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there was a comment by a Max fan. Sai shared it with us on that group. So the comment was Horner would have basically complained and gone after Charles Leclerc for the unsafe release. You remember that one?
Yeah. When he ran out in front of Albon, was it, or
Yeah.
in front of the Williams? Yeah.
What's
Horner
your
would have been
was
on
it-
the radio there immediately, getting a 5-second penalty or a 10-second
Yeah.
penalty.
What's your view on
100%.
it, by the way? In terms of, was it an unsafe release?
I mean, strictly speaking, under the regulations, probably.
Yeah.
In my view, it was
Exactly.
on the limit. So I don't know, but I think
At
I
least
think
an
if,
investigation should be there.
yeah, they should have been. They would have been pushed by Horner, absolutely. Like the team would have been on the radio. Yeah.
Very much.
But this was Mekia's first weekend. He was fine. Like
Yeah.
it's his look. It's his first weekend. He's got 18, maybe 24 races more before he gets fired. So let him enjoy it, you know?
Yeah. He's in for a tough ride, by the way, in the sense that the entire DNA is going to change of Red Bull.
See the praise he got for Sonoda, by the way, as well. Worked out well in the end, didn't it?
Everyone. No, again, it's not Sonoda's fault. Again, it's the team's
it's Red
fault
Bull's
that
fault.
they did. No, they did the strategy wrong. Again, they apparently apologized to Yuki Tsunoda for the strategy, which is new for Red Bull and
that's
new
nice.
for Yuki.
Yeah.
I mean, so what we are going
Well,
to
as
see
long as they
is the
apologize, we
performances
can
will
forgive
converge,
them
by the
for
way.
performing.
No, what's going to happen is the performances will start converging. And it's not that Max is going to stay there and Yuki is going to come ahead. Yuki is going to come ahead a bit. Max is also going to fall down. Apparently, he's now gone 3 weekends without a podium, which is the first time since 2019 or 2018 for Max. That's how long it's been that he's gone 3 weekends without a podium.
In fairness, Silverstone, he lost it. So that's on him.
In fairness,
the
this
race
one
before
also
that?
he lost. This was also his fault, by the way.
No, but he's driving the 12th fastest car. So, I mean, yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
It was the third one. Yeah, third one he got punted out by Kimi. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So none of them were his fault, obviously.
Yeah. The entire situation with Red Bull, by the way, because
my prediction was always right, almost right, by the way, because they got the
one?
sprint. Because I said they'd have an amazing weekend, and I thought, like when the sprint happened, I was like, "Huh, here
Did
we
you see
go."
Marco after the sprint?
No, what was he doing?
Running up to the pit wall and basically just congratulating Lauren McKees because ultimately it's his guy, right? So apparently the media had reached out to Red Bull to finally give any official explanation or something. Complete radio silence on Thursday. On Friday, finally, it was Sky Germany or something where Helmut Marko came in, and his answer was the performances in the last 18 months were not satisfactory. In the last 18 months, what have Red Bull done, by the way?
Won a championship.
Won a championship. Red Bull is on a championship winning run right now, and they've not won a championship in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I know.
If we go by this, if we go by this barometer, there's who should be fired. Everyone.
Well, can I just point out, Helmut? How many good drivers has Helmut picked up in the last 18 months that have actually,
18 years. You can go.
No. Well, like it is coming up on a decade since Helmut made the Verstappen choice, and since then he has done sweet
more than a
fuck
decade,
all.
by the way.
Yeah. Sorry, it is now. Yeah, because it was 2015. Sorry, 2014, right?
He was picked in 2014.
Yeah.
In the last 7 years, he's not picked a single world champion or a single driver.
I just don't think Helmut can talk about performance. I did think though that he gave some very, very good advice to the Red Bull team though. At the factory, and I think it's impressive.
Okay. You've read about it, I guess.
Yeah, and apparently from what I've heard, it's true. Now, let's see. Yeah. That also could just be the guy who told me that likes to wind people up as much as I do. So I don't know, but yeah, Helmut Marko's advice to the team was, if we could all just work like 10% harder, that'd be great. Which I believe is a direct Simpsons quote, by the way.
I also heard the same thing word by word.
Literally, Homer Simpson gave that same advice in an episode of The Simpsons 20 years ago, where he walked in and said, "You guys think you could work like 10% harder?" And they were like, "Sure thing, boss." Like literally, Homer Simpson gave advice.
Literally said that, by the way. And
so you've heard it from people as well, right? Like it's not just some random report. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I've also heard that people are looking for. The thing is, everyone's they've been caught off guard. And a lot of people are on contracts, so it's not easy to just pack the bags and move. They'll be planning though. They're also looking at what Horner is going to do next. And they're also looking at Alpine and Aston Martin, because these are the places to be now.
Also, you do 100% that teams this is the worst thing they could do is do it in season like this without a proper handover and stuff, just last minute, because every other team now is going to be looking at engineers that are the top engineers that they knew wouldn't budge while Horner's there because of loyalty and build up and all these things that they will now be pouncing on in other teams to grab.
Exactly.
They're going to be coming in going, "I'll buy that contract out. I'll do this. I'll do that. Let's sign it." Red Bull's going to find themselves in 18 months in a situation where a lot of their talent is going to be out the door. Yeah. So
good job.
It was just the worst. And it seems like, so far at least, it seems like my thinking of this was a kind of a Hail Mary to keep Verstappen around, short-term thinking, does seem to be holding. The timing makes sense, and
I think it's more than that, because what I've heard is
I think they've signed something with him before they hired or fired Horner.
Sorry, what?
I think they signed Max, like properly kind of locked him in before they fired Horner.
I think there's a scenario where Max has been used as a reason or an excuse to
Maybe,
get rid
yeah.
of Horner,
Yeah, maybe.
because it's just a case of, again, and this is something that I'm not entirely sure it's true, but there's a case of the Red Bull team, the Milton Keynes squad, being a bit too British.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
Red
we
Bull
talked about this last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. We talked about it here.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
that is something that is a bit concerning for them. And this is a bit weird, because usually the Red Bull brand has not gone ahead in this manner. But again, Dietrich was the one who was handling it. Now he isn't there.
Dietrich's exact wants over the years, not just from his words, but from his actions as well, were essentially keep the team as far away from the fucking corporate headquarters as possible.
Yeah.
That was the way he operated, always.
Exactly.
Because racing was his baby. He didn't want... The only way he wanted it connected to Red Bull was checks coming one way. That was it. That was all he was interested in. Just, I'll put the Red Bull branding on it and therefore money can come in. That's it. I think genuinely, like, if he saw this coming, he probably would have put a different brand name on it. You know,
Probably, yeah.
He probably would have called it Mazda Racing and given it to someone else after.
Yeah.
You know, like that would have been
It
that.
seems like it, because apparently there's also this thing where Marco. So what I noticed was, I had noticed two interviews. There was one with Marco. There was one with Max Verstappen. So Marco specifically talked about this, that the performance was not there, and then he talked about how Meki is technical and he's not going to be as occupied in other areas as Horner was. So because Horner was someone who had this philosophy that I'm the one who's at the top and I'm going to handle everything that comes below.
The old school
now.
Formula
Now
One
ultimately
team
what's
was,
going to
yeah.
happen is the Red Bull powertrain will have a different person. Meki is going to handle the racing bit, and then there's going to be a third part. Probably. That's what it seems like.
Sure. And
If
those
that
changes
happens-
always go smoothly overnight, right?
Pretty much.
Like,
Of course.
Always. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They never turn into like 6-year cycles of changing people and falling apart, and never ever happens. I mean, Ferrari have won how many championships since 2008? Trying to remember now.
Yeah.
0. Oh.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, sorry. By always goes smoothly, I mean always goes wrong. My bad.
Exactly.
Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, just look at Alpine, and again, a lot of people have started saying that I'm a huge Horner fan. I'm like, have you not seen my whatever I've written since the beginning? Because when Otmar Zafnar was fired, I was shouting literally from the rooftops about the same thing, that this team is going into the shitter, because what they are doing is they are not treating their assets well. And just look at Alpine now, with what, 2 years since that happened. 2023 was when Otmar was
Flavio's really
fired.
turned that around as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, they are at the bottom, and they were they were fourth fastest in 2022, and they are at the bottom now. And this is entirely down to the board being, first of all, it's being unclear of what it wants to do, and that's what's going to happen with Red Bull right now. 'Cause
This is a
they
lot
don't
of
know.
people. Yeah, because a lot of people just like the stupid comment I had a while back of like, oh well, F1 teams are so big now that one person like at the top doesn't change it. It's like, yeah, they do, because that one person sets the direction for everybody.
Yeah.
If that was the case, then no one would be hiring like Newey and Andy Kell. Like you wouldn't be pushing for Newey because you'd be like, oh, one engineer is not going to make a difference. Yes, it does, because that one engineer sets the direction for all the rest of the engineers. It's not that Newey does all the work. It's that Newey points you in the right direction. And Horner would have been able to point people in the right direction. However, for the last 18 months as well, Horner has been hamstrung by trying to keep Max Verstappen happy. I genuinely think that's part of the issue.
Because what the
Because
hell
if we
is
look at
going
this
on Red
Yuki
Bull
thing
right
all of
now?
a sudden, like, oh, well, we're going to give the floor to Yuki now. Like, why do you think Horner wasn't doing that? Because he was hamstrung by thinking, if I do anything to piss the Verstappens off, this goes.
Yeah, I agreed on that front, agreed. But there's also this thing where Horner had a very single-minded focus, where he wanted to have...
All he wanted to do was win.
Yeah, exactly.
And Red
He's
Bull
not
don't
going to
seem
win
to care
with
about
Yuki an upgraded floor. And he
Because
might win
Red
with
Bull
Max.
don't care about winning, though. So they're fine.
Yeah, apparently that's
This-
also the party line I've heard
This
from
is
a
a
lot of
marketing
idiots.
operation from them.
Yeah. Oh, so
This is the problem.
Yeah.
No, like genuinely,
God,
the problem is I think Red Bull. I just think boards at Red Bull, they're not there day to day. They don't work on these things day to day, right?
Yeah.
They think this is going to be easy. They'll be like, oh, we've done this so much in the past. This will be fine. I was like, no, but you haven't. Like, this has been handled day to day by another person.
Yeah.
And now you're coming
got
in.
rid of that person.
Yeah. This is going to turn into a nightmare for them. And the thing is, it's going to end up costing them more as well, because what's going to happen is, as soon as they start losing, those big lucrative contracts start going elsewhere, always, as we've seen. And I'm telling you, I would not be surprised in the slightest if in 2 or 3 years' time, a big manufacturer has come in and bought out a 50% stake in the team and are running it day to day.
Yeah.
I genuinely wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Because it was just a stupid decision. You literally had someone in charge that you didn't need to worry about. You could just let run the things. And all you had to do was collect your checks. And when things go wrong, he knows how to turn it around.
Yeah.
And your decision is, how hard can it be? We'll do it. Very fucking hard. So, good luck. Like, if it was that simple, Ferrari would be winning every season. Ferrari have everything they need to win a championship, except good decision-making by the board.
It's not even a case of talent, by the way. Ferrari has the talent.
And Ferrari have had the talent for a long time.
Yeah,
like, they've had great drivers every year since 2008. They haven't won a single title, 2009 they didn't. Did they? Who did they have in 2009?
No.
They had
They didn't win
Massa,
in
right?
2009.
No, but who did
Massa
they
and
have in
Kimi.
2000? Oh, and Raikkonen. Yeah, sorry. I forgot he moved that early. Yeah. I thought it was later for some reason, yeah.
No. It's...
Oh, yeah, because he won the... Sorry, my brain's not working. It's a Sunday, this hangover. I was like, he won the championship in 2007. My bad. Yeah.
They basically had that. And it's... what's going to happen. And I can almost see it happening. You're going to have a 2026. Okay, first, let's talk about one thing. Because, again, a lot of people did not catch on to it. Max Verstappen's quotes. You heard it?
No.
Read it? So Max Verstappen said that before making the call, the board gave... basically announcing it to the
gave
board.
me a call. Oh, I did hear that. They gave me a call.
Yeah. And his point was that, okay, the board made the call and they told me, ultimately they run the team. What can I do? And like, you're the same person who basically said that if Marco leaves, I leave.
In no other, in essentially different words, but he said basically...
That's what he said.
He said he was sticking with the team, and then they said, what if Helmut was to go? And he said, well, that would make the decision more tricky or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So, the idea that he had no input on this is like...
ludicrous.
Like, look, maybe he himself was like, I just want a fast car, team, figure this out. And maybe it was Jos and his what's his... I always forget his name.
Raymond.
Yeah. Maybe it was Jos and Raymond who made the ultimate call of this is where we stand on this.
Yeah.
Not that they fired Horner, but they were like, yes, we want him to go. Right. Which is more than enough for the board. Right.
Yeah.
So as I kept saying, the only reason the board do it right now at this particular moment is to keep Verstappen. There's no other reason to do it at that exact point. You wait the 6 months.
I just think that there's a case of them finding this as an opportune moment to get rid of him. That was the lowest point for them, and they're like,
if they did, they are even dumber than I'm expecting them to be. Because I think they're pretty stupid as it is.
Right now, honestly, I think both of them are competing for it. Because Max is staying for 2026 without a doubt. And
it's pretty locked in now, isn't it? Because Toto essentially said, my priority is to keep my 2 drivers. Which sounds like he's trying to put George on a 1+1, and George is saying no, and they're trying to figure that out. Basically.
Which is astounding for me.
No, I think George will sign it, but I think his team are just playing it out a bit and being like, no, I want 2+1, which is good management. To be fair, you try and get a longer contract.
I think my main worry is that how poor an acumen does Max have in that case, in terms of racing, that he doesn't know who was responsible for the team being successful. Even today, Spa, this is a race where, you know what Horner would have done? He would have raised hell, talked a lot about why Charles Leclerc was not given a penalty. And the thing is, you do not realize it on this very occasion because, again, it was just a podium.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it's going to happen for a win. When you fight, maybe if you're fighting for a world title,
it'll
happen for big
It'll
moments.
be a very short space of time before people start getting annoyed that Mekies isn't standing up for Max, basically.
Yeah. And and a lot of people already have. By the way, I mean, we saw the post. It's you can
They're already clamoring for Vache to go as well. So it's just
Yeah.
like it's idiocy.
foolish.
Yeah.
But if Max doesn't know
It's because
that,
they think that the driver is the changing point. And if that was the
But why
case,
does-
then Max would be winning every race.
my
Like,
point is,
you know,
but
can't-
why does someone who's basically bred on Formula One since he was 2 to 3 years of age, how does he not recognize it? Because a Michael Schumacher would not have made this mistake, and Alain Prost would not have made this mistake.
Well, Michael Schumacher didn't, did he? Because he got out of Benetton straight away. Like he knew that's it, it's over. And and that's off the back of winning 2 championships. And any other, like most other drivers would have stuck around for the next year to see what happens. He was like, no, I'm out. This isn't going to win. And I want a new challenge. Let's go.
Yeah.
Straight away.
He knew
Immediately.
that. He knew what made, and again, he knew what made him successful. He picked up those people who made him successful and he brought them to Ferrari and he won with them.
Yeah.
It's how does Max not know what made him successful? Which is astounding for me because it shows. It makes me question. Honestly, we keep talking, we keep putting him in that GOAT debate, right? And that's why, the longer it goes, the more chinks in the armor appear, and the more you realize that maybe there are some things that are not there. And I think this is very crucial for him because this phase, his first phase has been similar to what Seb had. Now is the second phase, how he does it, how he manipulates himself and puts himself in situations where he can win the championships again.
And to be fair, I mean, like as much as Seb's decision didn't work out, it's still technically worked out better than if he had stayed at Red Bull, realistically. Because realistically, he wasn't getting in a title fight during the next decade with Red Bull. Well, less than it. It would have been until 2021, Yeah,
7 years.
So like, and he would have probably retired by that stage. We had stayed with them for another 7 years and not won a title, like, so yeah.
He would
like
have
this is the
possibly
thing.
gone to Mercedes in that case.
So he went to Ferrari, which was on the verge of winning in 2012. And he was like, right, well, they have the right engine. Let's go for it. Like,
He went because Michael won there.
He
just went for the romanticism.
Sure. Which as Lewis did, Lewis went for the money as well. And because Lewis thought that Mercedes were the problem when reality was him. But yeah, look, I don't know. I think he's just, I just think it's a case of Jos hasn't technically steered him wrong yet, right? I think Jos is adamant about this decision, right? Because even like when Nico went to talk to him, the clear reason Jos doesn't want to talk about it is because Jos thinks he's right. Like if Jos wasn't in on that decision and wanting that decision, he would have said no, actually, I think, because Jos does like to talk when he wants to, right? And he didn't want to talk about it. So that was very telling of, I was in on the decision. I'm not saying anything.
The hilarious thing is it's, and I think you would have noticed this as well, because almost every publication has reported that the situation at Milton Keynes is tense. And there are only 2 people that are saying that the situation, the mood is positive now at Red Bull. One is Telegraph, other is Ralf Schumacher. That's it. 2 people. And that should tell you everything about how the whole thing is being manipulated.
So my point on this though is just that, look, and I've said this a couple of times already in Max's defense, right? Mm-hmm. His team hasn't steered him wrong yet. And as Bill Gates used to always say, successful people are the easiest people to fuck over because they think they'll always be successful.
But you know what brings you success, right?
Because sure.
This is my whole thing.
But I think the question, my
acumen.
I think my opinion of him will be lower if he continues to listen to them after this season. Because if after this season he continues to listen to them, it's like, come on, surely you can see now this was a bad decision. Yeah. Like, surely it's time to go, Dad, you've been great. Thanks for getting me here. But I need some independent, non-biased management who can tell me the full story so I can make proper decisions. Yeah. Because what you've sold me is your side of the decision and you were fucking wrong. Yeah. So it's time to move on. Same way Hamilton did in 2011, was it 2012, when he kind of said, look, you're going too far on this now. Like I need someone independent.
That's just better. I mean, it's better because you don't mix
those people
things.
Are great to have when you're coming up, right? Because those are the people who have, like, they're properly, but they're also properly in that fight for you. Yeah. Like, your dad in that situation is going to fight harder for you than any fucking manager will, right? Yeah. But once you get success, you need to start going, right, look, we did it together, but it's time to, I'm at a level now that I need someone who's worked at that level before. You know? And you haven't. you've driven as this number 2 driver.
Exactly.
You'd be great as Perez's manager. You would know exactly what to do in his situation.
Yeah. He might
Manage
be.
Yuki. Be
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Just stay away, honestly. Because again, what do you think is going to happen? Is he moving to Mercedes? Because the impression that I got was not for 2026, but the impression that I've got
full stop.
is
No.
I think there is a case where he's not willing to break his contract, whatever clause is there, and what he wants to do is he wants to see what the situation is in 2026 and then take a call, which ideally should have been smart if he kept Horner in the team, but he's not done that. For me, the worry is if Toto Wolff thinks that he'll keep George on a leash again and again, at what point does George's patience run out? Because that is going to be a very, very...
I think it's simpler than that, though. I just think if you get to next season, right, and Mercedes do have the fastest car, right, which is what would make Max want to go there more than anything else, right? Because if McLaren have the fastest car and Mercedes are a little bit off, then he's going to have to think, like, what's the best route to fight these guys? So it might not be a clear cut, like Mercedes is the best decision. And in that case, though, if Mercedes are the fastest, let's say, and winning, like, they have the McLaren of this season next year, basically, or better, right? George is going to win that title, more than likely, right? Because realistically, like, if Antonelli does get on his pace and gets his pace up, George is still going to beat him on experience and kind of pull it together over the season. So it might be tight or whatever, but I would imagine George will win that. It's too early for Antonelli to kind of beat him.
Yeah.
But at which point, like, Toto's in a position where I've got the reigning world champion, who's a Mercedes driver that I brought up, right? And I know, like, he probably should be backing him already, but you've then got the new champion. Max hasn't won a championship in 2 seasons now, right? Because he's not winning this one. Yeah. We know how quickly F1 starts to turn to the new guy. So now George is the new guy. And Antonelli, if he's close, it's like, well, I've got a guy who just won the championship and this young kid who I've backed all the way, beating him up. I don't really need to change now. And I don't really need to get the board to authorize a $60-70 million pay packet when I've got 2 drivers that can deliver. So
Ideally, I agree with you on that, but I would have already signed George on a multi-year contract if I was Toto.
unless Toto was trying to fucking ruin Red Bull, which if he was,
He's not that
fucking
smart,
gee.
right? Yeah, he's
Well,
not that smart.
I mean,
I wouldn't even put...
if he did though, incredible.
If he did. Yeah, if he did, but he hasn't.
Incredible if he did. If that was his choice, if that's why George kept like smiling and laughing when he was asked, because the two of them were sitting there going, George, I've got an idea. I think we can fuck the entire team over.
Yeah, but
I just
you
had a
can
call with Yoss.
The problem is that you can fuck Red Bull over, but in the long run, he has basically... It's a blessing for Honor because, as I told you, there are talks between him and multiple teams.
Yeah,
Whichever
yeah.
it is, it will come out.
And why Red
but
Bull don't
they
think
are-
about that as well? Like,
Yeah, I mean, he can fuck over. His main rival was Honor, and he's basically made Honor a stronger contender because now, when Honor comes back, he's going to be a co-owner. And once you're the owner of the team, the shackles are off.
yeah.
And he's going to take that team ahead whichever way he wants. So I doubt that he has done that. But my main worry is when he's talked about it, he's talked about keeping his options open for 2027, basically.
yeah.
And if that is the case, I don't know if this time around, first of all, I don't know how George is going to feel if Toto comes up to him and says that, okay, this is a 1+1 contract for next season.
You
Because
think
what
he'll
that
take it
means
though,
is
obviously, right? He's not going to be happy
he doesn't
about
have
it,
an
but he'll take it.
option. He doesn't
Yeah.
have an option, he'll take it. But at the same time, what it shows is that as soon as next season Max is available, you're gone. That's the implicit message.
And
it
you
could
know
not
that, for
be-
example, if another team is very close and this dicking around starts next year, George could go just straight away, just like, right, well,
That
Aston
is
are
the
close
next
and they
thing.
could win in 2027,
And
so
that
I'm
is the
gone.
next thing, because what happens, okay, suppose there's a next season, 2026 begins, and after all this hype around the Mercedes power unit, it's a dud. Let's assume it's a dud. Mercedes is going to be struggling at that stage. Why the
George
fuck would
doesn't stick
Why
around,
the
yeah.
fuck would George put any more years? Because even after Mercedes has basically not repaid any kind of loyalty towards him,
Yeah.
he won't. And I think this is a very precarious situation because maybe in a way, if he's going to bet big by, okay, I'll have a Max, Kimi, Antonelli super team, he might end up with a situation where he's got a young Kimi, but he doesn't have anyone in the second car. Cause
Yeah,
why?
yeah.
Because he's underappreciated someone he had who was almost as good as Max for the hope that he might get Max, which
Yeah.
is, I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
as a business decision or as a team principle, it's a call that I would like to make. And this obsession with Max, I hope it doesn't end up hurting him in the long run,
The
because it
simple
might.
thing is as well, it doesn't make any sense because Toto knows damn well as much as we do.
We'd assume
if-
he'd know, but we
But like
also
Toto
assume that
knows
the Red
damn
Bull
well.
board
No,
would
but
know.
my point
right?
is Toto knows damn well that he could sign George on a 2+1 contract, right? Keep him happy.
2+1,
Be like,
yeah.
right, I'll give you a longer contract, 2 years plus 1. We want you around, George. You know, it's
Yeah.
good. And then go next year. Verstappen's available. It'll cost me 30 million to get rid of George. George, sorry, fuck off. I've got Max in. So he just have to pay the contract out. He knows that as well as anyone else does. It's not an issue to keep everyone happy and have your options open. Formula One contracts mean
If
nothing.
he does,
Like, they just have a
if
payment.
he does, that's fine. I think if he does
yeah.
that's fine. That's not
That's
a problem.
clever. That's clever.
That's a better
keeping
way to
everyone
go
happy.
about it. But again, no one's willing to put in that much.
But then we
stake
don't
to
know
it.
what's going on behind the scenes because George, during this whole time, has been saying the same line, smiling, laughing. I'm not worried, you know? And I don't know, like, maybe behind the scenes, it has been a situation of, look, he's talking about 2027, being open with him. Like, I need to keep the options open. And George's like, yeah, fair enough. But he's like, look,
Yeah.
you know.
So by the way, Toto talked about it in the interview with Sky. So what has happened is Toto was about to sign George and announce the extension. I'm forgetting, it was after Canada, it seems, or something around that time. 10th race, whichever it was. What happened is, as soon as that happened, when he was about to sign, Max's team reached out. And once it reached out, then trying to be transparent with his driver, Toto told George that, okay, there is a scenario where Max is someone who is available. So it would be foolish for me to not talk to him. Let me talk
Yeah.
to him. Let me see how the situation is. Once he did that, in the very next weekend, George came in and he basically openly told the media that these two are having a conversation. And then that broke everything off. So Toto kind of said that he regrets somewhat opening it and telling George, being very honest with him.
Yeah.
That's the entire situation.
I'm sure he doesn't regret that Horner left because of it all, though.
I don't know. Both him and Zach they sound quite wary. Zach also talked about
They're
that.
probably a little bit concerned that he'll go somewhere else that could beat them.
He'll be
you
the
know?
boss. That's the
Yeah,
thing. He'll be at the same level that they are, and I don't think either of them would like that.
Yeah. And everyone except the Red Bull board seems to understand that Horner will create another like top
Giant.
team.
Yeah.
Like he's done it twice. He has the blueprint. Like, you know,
He's won championships in 3 different regulations.
yeah. And like people will back him. Like it's not like money is going to be an issue. Like if Horner shows up somewhere, money will follow.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, if he goes to Alpine and Alpine are struggling for money, he'll get sponsors and backing in overnight. Like it won't be an issue. So they all know that. And it seems like it's only the Red Bull board that doesn't seem to get that. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And Jos Verstappen, who I think Martin Brundle this weekend called the new Red Bull team boss in reality.
Yeah. No, he said that since 2024, he has been the de facto team boss for
Team
me.
principal, yeah.
Which
yeah,
is
yeah.
quite brutal. But again, at least someone is opening up and saying
Well,
the
this
things
is
that
why
they are.
like, Brundle is great. Like Brundle
Yeah.
gets a lot of hassle, but I like him. Like because I don't agree with all of his opinions, but he speaks his mind. He doesn't he doesn't tiptoe around things like the others do. He'll just tell you. There's certain things where he says, and I'm like, I don't agree with that. But it's also like fair enough. Like that is your opinion, though. You're not just saying it because you're some fanboy of this group or you're British or whatever.
Brundle has
He just kind of
changed.
says, you know.
Brundle has changed, by the way, now, because for me, why I don't really buy all this thing about Brundle is because now for me, it's a habit that I go back and watch the old races. So just recently, I was watching the 2011 Belgian Grand Prix. Remember the Lewis Kobayashi crash?
Yeah.
Who was at fault?
Lewis.
Just guess what Brundle and David.
That was Kobayashi. Sure, of course they did. Yeah.
They went for around 5 or 6 minutes and said Kobayashi moved, and yeah. Anyways,
But
these
yeah,
are the things that.
Well,
the thing is
Brundle's
at
also
that
gotten to
time-
the point now in commenting. He's
Yeah.
at the same point as like a Vettel after the championships, where remember Vettel got to the point where he just
Didn't
say
give a
whatever
fuck.
he was thinking.
Yeah.
You know, Brundle's kind of at that where he's like, fuck it, they get rid of me now, I'll have
It's
a job
also a
somewhere
case
else. Like
that now they have immediate feedback. They didn't used to have immediate feedback at the time. Social media has become this powerful that now you cannot be as partisan. Why the Dutch or Italian media can be this partisan is because no one fucking listens to them. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's just their specific
Yeah.
regional thing. That's the
Yeah.
difference. Anyways, a lot of talk
moving
about
on.
this.
Yeah,
Moving
what's
on. Yeah.
next?
Yeah. Just one thing. Kimi Antonelli. We didn't really talk about it.
Yeah,
Apparently, he was crying on Friday after qualifying.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Even on
It's because Max is taking his seat for next year, apparently.
and even on Saturday, he had tears and everything. And apparently, a lot of people are now going that he has been promoted a bit too early. So, what's your take on the whole thing first? I'll give mine later.
I just think that they didn't realize how difficult it will be to adapt to these tires and these cars and everything. And I think it's just like, again, as I said the last time we were talking about the rookies, I think the expectations were just way too high. And then you can't have those really high expectations and then also try and stop him from crashing, which means making him go slower. So you're putting him between a rock and a hard place and expecting him to beat George, like, for example. And it's like, it's just never going to happen. Like, you know, so the expectations, I think, are just way too high. And that pressure is probably on him as well. So, like, you know, yeah, look, I don't think he's doing a particularly bad job. It's just he's a rookie. And also, like, that car, I think some weekends that car is easy enough to handle. I think other weekends it's really tricky because I don't think Mercedes know what that car is doing, you know, and we see time and time again, like, the car just, they have no idea whether the car's going to be fast or slow. So it wouldn't surprise me if they have to wrangle it into various setups just to get things to work, which means then it's tricky or it's on the limit or whatever. And he's a young kid. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. Like, he's in a really high pressure environment. So I don't know, for him to come out like to be kind of upset and like visibly upset, it's like, I mean, fair enough. You know, he probably came in thinking like, oh, you're going to be at the top. Like, you're going to be winning races and on podiums and everything.
That's how he's been throughout his career.
Yeah, and then just to come in and be absolutely decimated by his teammate, who apparently no one thinks is a good racing driver, you know, including Toto. So it's yeah, I think the expectations are just too high, you know. So
I think it's just a blip. I think it's maybe a good thing. Just my way, I think it's a good thing. I think it would actually show what he's made of.
yeah,
Blips are important. There will be times when a driver is down. People don't remember, but Max went through this phase after the race in 2018 Monaco. He said, this cannot go on." He was quite blunt about it, and he turned it around after that. That's the mental strength. Can Kimi do it? Can he not? How well is Toto facilitating him? These are the questions that need to be answered. But I just say give the kid time. Because they're not fighting for anything anyways, isn't it?
Look at exactly, and look at how, as I said the last time we were talking about rookies, look how good Piastri is this season, and then look at just his second season last year, how far off he was on average with Norris in general. So, like, you know, and then you go back to first season, it was even further. So, like, I think this is just, there's just so much to learn in these cars. And that's normally, I guess, why they put them in like a back marker or a slower car, because there's so much to learn that it's easier just to learn that out of the spotlight, away from the pressure. And he's got all this spotlight, all this pressure, and he's been built up as like the next Verstappen. And then, as I said, he comes into a team where he's alongside a guy who is almost as good as Verstappen, but doesn't get any credit for it. And therefore, if you're losing to that guy, it's like, well, how are you losing to George? He's basically Lance Stroll. Like, you know, this should be easy for you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you on that, because
Give him time.
I just
100%.
think that we are maybe, let's not jump the gun. Let him complete his first season. Let's see where he is next
He's doing
year.
a relatively good job. It's just,
He's fine.
what did we expect? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, did people honestly expect him to come in and blitz George? If you did, I just think reassess your outlook on Formula One.
I think how Carlos has gone and how Lewis has gone this season, it just gives us a clear idea of the
How
fact that
difficult it is to
cars
switch
are
team.
not easy.
Yeah.
And I think even Hülkenberg's season is showing that. Hülkenberg throughout his career was never been a driver who couldn't hook up a lap in qualifying. He's struggling to do that this year, and it's been evident. He's
Yeah.
more or less fine in races, but when it comes to qualifying specifically, he's struggled a lot.
Yeah.
And again, new environment, new team, everything's new, different. It takes time to adapt.
Just hopefully
like
this doesn't this doesn't break him, because that's the one huge advantage that Piastri had, for example. Like Piastri, when he was getting destroyed by Lando essentially over 2 seasons, never once cared. Just kind of, just wanted to get on top of the tires.
He's
Like he was
strong.
real. Yeah. Whereas this could be really damaging to Antonelli if they put him in the wrong position. So hopefully they're kind of backing him up with, look, fuck it, just keep going. Like this is fine. This is normal
as well.
Yeah. And the worst thing they could do to him as well would be if they do decide next year to replace him instead of George, for example, which they could do.
I think that would be a career.
I think it's
suicide.
very unlikely, but it would ruin his career because you wouldn't bounce back from that. I don't think that would be that.
Especially
Maybe.
if their idea is sending him to Alpine under Flavio Briatore, because that would
And
be
Horner.
utterly foolish thing.
Yeah.
I really hope they don't do that. And he's already screwing up Colapinto's career.
Yeah.
At least we don't want him to do anything more. But he's already doing.
So we're nearly at 2 hours. So let's jump.
That's what I think.
I know we were going to talk about the midfield, but let's jump to questions and
you'll
Hungary maybe.
Pick it up.
I don't know.
Yeah, you pick up the Twitter ones. I'll look at the
Cool.
YouTube ones. How many are there? There were quite a few, by the way.
Sorry, I just saw, I don't know what you posted here, but just as I opened my Twitter, I do hope people give Charles Leclerc the credit he deserves this weekend. That Ferrari didn't deserve to be on the podium on Sunday, and he made the difference. And then Box said, time for you to tell Casual that drivers cannot outperform the car.
What?
But you never said he could outperform the car.
I didn't say out. No, I wrote that he. What did I write? I don't even remember.
You wrote, I do hope people give Charles Leclerc the credit he deserves this weekend. That Ferrari didn't deserve to be on the podium on Sunday, and he made the difference at every crucial moment.
Yeah. So what's wrong with that?
I got tagged. I got tagged by the Oscar fanboy guy to say, time to tell Casual that you can't outperform the car.
Why
But
do
you
I
didn't say
not
he would-
see the person?
You probably haven't blocked or muted or something. I don't know.
No,
Anyway,
I don't. I only block assholes. Okay, then
See,
that would make sense.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, box and stop. He has written
Yeah.
something. Fuck him. Anyway.
So, but yeah, no, I could reply, but the answer is you didn't say he could outperform the car. You just said, you literally just said, basically that he pulled everything together essentially, which is different. That's like saying how Max like put a bad car in a good position by
Time
just
to
hooking
tell
everything
Cash-
up.
Okay, now I see it.
Anyway, I'll get this one out of the way. DRS Merchant, will you two finally admit that Max drives the 7th fastest car? No, it was the 2nd fastest car.
Oh god.
That was the one I was alluding to earlier.
Mixed up.
It's 7th fastest. It's the 2nd fastest car on average, because sometimes it's the 3rd or 4th, sometimes, but usually the Ferrari or Red Bull or Mercedes have fucked them enough that it's all over the place. Sai has got 3 questions here. So Q1, why is it okay? Oh, Jesus Christ. Why is it okay to say Leclerc can outperform the car? But when it's Verstappen, it's physically impossible to outperform the car.
Okay,
Please
I'll
explain the
explain it
difference.
then. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
you
I'll
explain it and then
explain
I'll
it.
give my point. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so when I'm saying outperformed the car, what it means is Ferrari was the
can't
3rd
outperform the
fastest
car.
car. Yeah, Ferrari was the 3rd fastest car. Ideally, Leclerc should have finished, P4. That's the best he could have done. He should have done, ideally. He beat Max, who was in a faster Red Bull, which makes it outperforming what the car was capable of. That's what it means.
But he's not driving the car faster than the car can go, though. He's just, what he's done is, he has maximized
the car's
everything.
potential. That's what I wrote.
Well,
now I remember
but-
it.
Yeah,
The
yeah, but
car's
he's not
potential is
outperforming.
P4.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
But it's not that he's actually outperforming the car's potential, right? What's actually happened is he's maximized everything this weekend, and Max has made some mistakes. So where
so
Max has made mistakes. So basically, it's not that Charles has overperformed the car; it's that Max has underperformed and Charles has maximized. So one is not. Yeah,
What I mean
essentially,
is,
I know what you mean. The car is fourth, and he's beat a guy who was in the third fastest car. Essentially,
Yeah. So what I mean
he's
is
he's
Ferrari
been the
should have
second
been
fastest
P4.
car. Yeah. Yes.
Ferrari
yeah,
should
yeah.
have been P4. He finished P3. That's what I mean
Yeah.
by outperforming.
Yeah.
Hope it's
He's
clear
max.
now.
He's maximized the car, and Max
yeah.
hasn't been able to. Max has made
Yeah.
mistakes. So Max, technically, guys, Max has underperformed.
Max is bottomed. That's what I
yes.
mean.
Yeah. Okay, you can explain that on Twitter afterwards, or not. Who cares? Question 2: the conditions at Spa and Silverstone were similar. Why did they go racing at Silverstone and even activate DRS? But they had to wait till it dried out at Spa. Yeah, it was ridiculous, frankly. And I think it's just
ridiculous. But there's an official explanation. Carlos Sainz shared it. So what happened was there were some drivers who were not happy that Silverstone they started the race. The conditions were deemed dangerous by them. So what happened after the race was the drivers they
those
had a
drivers
meeting,
Lance Stroll by any chance,
all of them apparently, almost everyone. Yeah.
except for Max, I'd imagine.
Except for Max also alluded to the same
Max
thing.
spun. So yeah, Max would have. Yeah, except for Piastri. Sorry,
Yeah.
and Norris. Yeah.
So they had the meeting, and the race director said that fine, for this race we did it because the danger level is not there, but at Spa the problem is Eau Rouge.
Yeah.
And we've had, Antoine Hubert, we just had the whole ceremony of him right on Thursday, so that is still fresh and they do not want to risk it. So that's why they were being extra cautious, because what happens is at Spa the entire the most wettest part of the track is the Camel Straight, and that is usually where everything is a bit dangerous. The speed is high and big accidents could happen. So that's why.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the official reason. I personally would have, after the first formation, whatever lap behind safety car, I would have wanted them to start racing, but they didn't. But yeah, that's what I would have probably preferred.
Yeah. And then Q3 is regarding what Dr. Obb said. When the team make the setup call based on weather forecast, but FIA doesn't allow racing, should teams be allowed to make setup changes? I don't think so, because I think it makes things too messy. Like, I really do think it's better that you just lock in for qualifying.
It's not possible to, by the way.
But also as well, like, you lock in for qualifying, and like the thing is, when you lock in for qualifying because you think it's going to be wet, the weather might not be wet either. So you're making a gamble regardless. So I think whether the gamble is that the FIA doesn't allow it or whether the weather changes, doesn't make a difference. You're still making a gamble on, we think this is the best setup for the race. But I do see the point of the point is we should have wet weather tires, basically.
Yeah. So what happened is Max kind of got shafted in both the races, because in Silverstone it was wet and he was on a dry setup, and they went ahead and raced even then.
Yeah.
And here he was on a he was on a wet setup and they had a dry race, and they stopped the whole thing. It's just that, look, the weather is dynamic. The FIA is making the call pretty much on the go. And these are the things you cannot really predict. You cannot predict weather. And it is very, very, it changes very, very quickly. So on that very front, again, you can say that teams can make changes. Other than safety, they do not allow you to make changes because there's parc fermé for a reason. That's why.
Yeah. All right. Those are all the questions from Twitter. I don't know if there's any more from your side.
Just 3 of them. I think, no, there was just more, right?
I'm not seeing any more.
Wait.
But then you weren't seeing a notification either, so maybe Twitter's fucked up.
That wouldn't be a surprise. Will you too? Okay, so that's it. Yeah. YouTube has how many? Okay, so on the channel we have 9. Lovely. Let's go through it quickly. First of all, how high do you think Lewis could have finished if he...
What did he say?
You'd love it. How high do you think Lewis could have finished if only he qualified better?
I just like to say, I am going to make the absolute assumption that there is someone who's been watching the podcast before and knows how much that statement annoys me. So, bravo. In terms of how high he could have finished.
Wins 44-17. Cheers.
Okay, cheers. Yeah, to be honest, if he had a qualified higher, knowing Leclerc or knowing Lewis this season, he probably would have fucking gone backwards. So, I think if he had a qualified higher, he probably was on for a 5th. but I don't think he's beating Leclerc and Max this weekend, to be perfectly honest. So I think 5th, probably at best, realistically, because if he had a qualified higher, the likelihood is he gets past past Albon.
Maybe. Look, qualifying, I don't think he beats George in qualifying either.
Yeah, maybe not.
And
So
Albon,
probably
yeah.
P6 then, right? Albon, yes, I think he gets past.
Albon,
Like,
yeah,
I
he
don't,
would
yeah.
have.
So probably P6 then, P5 or P6 depends on because George did struggle at the first part without the downforce, but then the Ferrari weren't running the downforce either. So I guess it's
Yeah,
hard to
because
say. But
by
yeah,
the way, in that case, he would not have optimized his setup and gone back,
yeah.
started from the pit lane either. So yeah, who knows? P6, roughly P6, P5 on
Yeah.
the best case scenario. Okay, now next, Corner Reckoner. Top 5 most boring Spa races since 2000. Top 5. 5 most boring races at Spa.
Well, 2021 was pretty fucking boring because it didn't happen. This one was quite
Yeah.
dull.
This one was dull, yeah.
2023, if you weren't a Max fan, was pretty dull as well. Like nothing really happened except
2012
Max
as well.
just
There
coming
was
through the
nothing going
fields.
on, yeah.
2012. There's been a lot of them, to
Yeah.
be fair.
Yeah, even look, 14 was fine. 15 was because again, what happened in 15 and 16 is either of the two had a penalty, so there wasn't any battle. 17 was fun. 18 was nice, okayish. 19 was Charles Leclerc winning. It was also decent. 20 was straightforward.
I just replied to that, by the way. Just while
Which
that's
one?
what I was doing. Time to tell casual. I just said you were wrong on Twitter. I said, yeah, casual is wrong. You can't outperform the car. Leclerc maximized the car in qualifying in the race. Max made a
Max
mistake in
bottled.
qualifying, and Leclerc didn't give him an opportunity once he had track position. So Leclerc didn't outperform the car. He maximized it, and Verstappen underperformed. He had the second fastest car and finished 4th instead of P3.
Good job.
That's the actual, but that is the genuine, like, if you want to be critical and logical about it, that's what's happened.
Yeah.
Max should have finished P3, as you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
So, fine, Leclerc didn't outperform the car.
Yeah.
That's accurate. Max underperformed,
Perfect.
which is going to make the Max fan who commented back on it very happy, I'm sure.
Seems like it, no?
Yeah, he's not going to be happy about that. Because he's also the one who commented 7th fastest car, right?
Oh, no, that's DRS Merchant, right? Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, next up, Flaky. We need a race director with balls.
I agree.
We need a race director
Bring
with
back
balls
Massey.
and FIS staff that aren't whining babies. It's so fucking ridiculous. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I get why like they have to be cautious for safety and so on, but like it got to the point of ridiculous. Like there was literally a
They
dry
wasted
line
4
forming.
laps. Yeah, that was utterly
You
foolish.
know.
And
But also the thing as
after
well
every
was,
lap,
like-
it was Julian Palmer saying, "Let's start racing."
But
Let's
also
start
the
racing.
but also the simple fact of the moment it stopped raining, like the moment it stopped
Yeah.
raining, they know they have to have a 10-minute at least warning. Why don't you? The moment it stops raining, you start the 10-minute thing, you start the formation laps. If it starts raining again, so be it. That's fucking fine. Like that's part of that's the risk you
By the
take.
way,
But just start.
all these questions and complaints would not be coming if the racing was better.
McLaren.
Why the whole thing is because everyone waited an hour and the race was shit. There was nothing that happened in the race. In the first few laps, there was something that was going on, and thanks to Lewis, at least there was some action. But other than that, there's nothing, and that's the problem. If they had a less solid tires, a bit fragile, we might have had better racing. We might have had more overtakes and maybe a better fun. We had 0 safety cars either. And why would you have safety cars if you're basically not racing?
Yeah.
Next up, Football 8551. I believe Carlos Sainz has been underrated for so long that he has now become overrated. People claim he's much better than what he is. World championship material. You also used to, by the way.
No, I didn't say that. I said he could win a world championship
You
if
said
there
he
was
was
no
better
other
than Charles
competition.
Leclerc. You were the one, or was it? Yeah,
I definitely didn't say that. And if I did say that, that's definitely something
I'll
I
need
said
to dig up that
That's
clip. I
definitely
think I
something I
have
said
it.
to piss people off. Because I
piss me off.
I don't believe that. So yeah, that makes sense then that I was trying to wind you up. Yeah.
yeah.
Because I don't believe that. I've always said that I think he's very underrated and that like he's not that far off of that top tier. Like that has always been my thing of like, I think there's the top tier.
Basically,
and I think
just
science is
below
like
that, yeah.
right underneath it. And
Yeah.
I said like, if someone like Button can win a championship, because this is something I always say to annoy you as well, that like, because I know you like Button. So I'm always like, well, Button shouldn't have won. When Button was actually a very good driver. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, better than Lewis. Please, someone will get pissed off on that.
If only
I mean,
Lewis
we
had
should
a
have
qualified
Piastri
better.
and Shahryar on and say these
Yeah.
things.
If only
It's
Lewis
going
had
to
a
blow their
qualified
head.
better.
Yeah.
Actually, I think is it Cameron is his name, the YouTuber. He's always he's
But
liked my stuff a couple of times on
grifting.
Twitter.
He's grifting
he-
to
I don't know,
Max
but he's-
fan now. So I mean,
Is he?
with the wind.
Fantastic. But no, he always likes stuff. I really want to go on his podcast and have a debate with him about Lewis.
He doesn't debate. No, that's the problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be fun though. He seems like a nice guy though, and if he is
Yeah.
grifting, fair play. As long as he's doing it well, that's the main thing.
Exactly.
If you're going to start a Ponzi scheme, you better get fucking away with it. That's the main thing. I'll always say. Yeah.
Don't get caught.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to sum it up, I think he's a perfect second driver, but a team should never be built around him. For Carlos.
I disagree with that in one sense because look, depends on the team. Like obviously he's not the driver you want to build like a Red Bull or a Mercedes or whatever around.
Yeah.
But like he is the perfect guy for a comeback special like a Williams. You know, the guy who can perform consistently, like, and he's very, very fast when he wants to be, and he's willing to like override the team, talk, you know, he'll call strategy out when he thinks it's wrong. He's a strong, experienced driver. And like, if you're a team like Williams, you're not going to get a Verstappen or Russell or Leclerc or whatever.
Yep.
He's the next best thing, the closest thing you can get. I think he's exactly the type of guy you build a team around in that
I mean,
instance.
would you call him the next best thing and he's getting thrashed by Albon?
No, and like that's fair
Albon.
enough. Yeah, that's fair enough. But also, like, let's see how long that lasts. You know, as well. Like, let's. It's been half a season.
The gap will reduce.
Yeah.
It will reduce
You know.
significantly, and next season it could be a completely clean slate.
Yeah.
Never know.
Like, I mean, look, if we're going by that metric, then realistically, like, Piastri should have been dropped after season 1. Antonelli should be dropped right now. Leclerc should be fired and sent out the door. You know, like, there's plenty of drivers where you could be like, look, you know, he didn't come in and immediately smash his teammate who's been there for years. Like, what do you expect? You know, that way, like, and it's not like Albon's a shit driver. Like, if he came in and was immediately underperforming
I
to
think
Logan
Albon's
Sargent.
reputation pretty much got smashed because Franco Colapinto came in and was right on his pace. And then everyone just assumed that Albon is trash and Carlos will come in and just take over.
Especially now because they're looking at Franco Colapinto. And it's just, I just think this goes back to, people seem to think this is a driver's sport and they just don't take the car into account ever. Because
I
they're just
think
like,
cars are probably playing a bigger role this time around.
Hugely. And like cars clearly are difficult to adapt to, and tires and everything in those cars. So like we even hear like, oh, the tires in this car are so much different than they were in the Ferrari, for example. You know? So it's like,
There's a lot of
fair
things
enough.
that are going on,
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I think I genuinely, the amount of times I see people who just make a 1-for-1 conclusion about a driver to another driver, and you're like, yeah, but are you forgetting this is an engineering series? Like, this is about the cars. Every team builds a different car. So you could have just one trait in that car that really fucks up a driver's ability to maximize it.
You want to talk
like,
about cross comparisons? There was one comparison which actually blew my head. It was from a Lewis fan who said that during their partnership together between George and Lewis was around 2 to 3 tenths faster at Spa. So it is arguable that Williams in 2021 was arguably 2 to 3 tenths faster than Mercedes.
I don't think that opinion, and I say opinion because that is an opinion because there's no facts backing it up. I don't think it merits any discussion.
Precisely.
Frankly, like, moving on.
I specifically wrote good point. Williams in 2021 was faster than Mercedes. Okay. Anyways, next one is from Sri Lakshmi 5. What do you guys think about the start? Why was wet racing allowed at Silver? Okay, yeah, we kind of talked about it. I understand it's a little bit more dangerous, but today's delay was too much. Also, do you think without the mistakes, Lando could have caught up with Oscar by the end? No. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I
Look,
think
I
once,
think no. I'll put it this way. I think if he hadn't have made those few mistakes, he could have got on the back of Oscar, as in like maybe got up to like a second or maybe even within the second. I don't think he was passing him though. Not in a million years was he passing him.
Yeah.
Because the offset wasn't big enough, and he'd have to take a seriously risky lunge, and I don't think it was happening.
Yeah, it becomes pointless at that stage because
Yeah.
neither would do that, right? They're not
and you-
taking risky lunges in any
You could
which
throw
way.
away 18 points instead of 8, like, or 7. I mean, so like it's just not worth it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Is modern Spa overrated? No.
Is what? Is what?
Spa overrated?
No, we talked about this for 30
It's
minutes
underrated.
at the start. So
Let's just...
the cars are overrated. Yeah.
Sean Daly. Why?
Oh, I think this is a guy that he's a subscriber of my channel, Irish guy. Is it? Yeah,
I've heard
yeah,
his name.
yeah.
Is
He's a nice guy.
Is Norris just trying too hard to show he's still the team leader, championship favorite, and in doing so causing him to make a lot of little errors that ultimately lead to him losing places or the race? He's a great driver on his day, but howdy does what? But boy, he makes a lot of errors. It seems to me he's throwing away the championship by overdriving the car in an effort to remain relevant next to the new flashy upstart.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because he wants to be team leader. Like, I don't feel like that's the type of person Norris is. Like, I just think he
Sucks.
easily gets into yeah, he's shit. I just think he easily gets into his own head, and I think the fact that like I think it's a lot easier for him to explain to himself like Max beating him in a Red Bull than the pressure of his teammate beating him, his less experienced younger teammate beating him in the same car. Like that, I'm sure is destroying his self-confidence because there's no excuse. Like, if it's Max in a Red Bull, you can blame the team, the car, the setups. But when it's the other driver alongside you and you know
Everything
the
is the
team is
same.
giving you like equal opportunities, especially that the team has gone out of its way to make sure it's equal opportunity, like gone over and beyond to make sure it's equal opportunity, that I think that pressure must be mounting. And I also think that the suspension does seem to have helped, but I think kind of part of the damage is done of he came into a car that obviously had, because Oscar did mention it as well. He's like, there's very little feel from the front. It was very numb at the front.
Yeah.
So it's really stiff. So you're not getting any feedback. And Oscar just dealt with that and Norris couldn't. And I think the damage has kind of been done where he's tried to adapt and now he's back to, So I just think he's just in his head too much, frankly. And you can't win like that. And Oscar just isn't letting it get to him. And look, that's all on Lando. Like that's all on him. He has no one else to blame for that than himself. So he's just unfortunate that they didn't keep Daniel Ricciardo for a couple of years because
That would have helped.
yeah.
Yeah, I just think we've reached a point where both of them are very close to each other in the championship. It's going to come down to every race weekend, every start, who gains the edge is either going to win. I think the bigger problem is going to be for both drivers. It's going to be on days when McLaren is not the outright fastest and when there's competition with Max, George or Charles, when they are right there fighting for the win.
And see, I think that's when Oscar will win as well, because Oscar, time and time again, in those situations, doesn't get flustered by it. Just is like, right, they're quicker. We'll just drive here today. And Lando goes on a charge of trying to kind of prove something.
Yeah.
Where Sean says like trying to prove something, I think that's where it is, where he's like, he needs to be the fastest in his head. And I think that's killing him here,
But I do think Lando has made progress in some areas as well. Because
look, he's not been terrible. Like, I mean, I think in the same way to people underestimating Carlos, people I think completely underestimate how good Lando is.
I think there
because
is
of these things.
A bit of a double standard when it comes to Lando. A lot of times, again, the bottling nonsense today was utter rubbish. I don't think he bottled anything. I think it was just a very close battle between two drivers who were both driving right on the edge.
Oscar drove better. I think simple as that.
And he won. And it's going to happen. It's going to go one way or the other. And we had Austria. It was Lando who had the edge. And he was under pressure throughout the race.
Yep.
You could even argue that Lando was probably slower than Oscar that day. Right? Mm-hmm. And once that is going on, it should it reveals something. Also, on Friday, he was 6 tenths slower than Oscar. From there to basically turn everything around in the weekend and beat Oscar for pole position, that's a remarkable comeback. And I think it shows some kind of strength. At least he's growing. He has 11 races. If he can back it up, it's not over. The thing is, it's not over. It's
He's
going
not
to come down to
I think the
maybe-
simple fact is, like you said, he's not as bad as everyone gives him. He's a very, very, very talented racing driver.
Yeah.
He's just in the unfortunate position of his teammate is now just as quick on most occasions, not all occasions, but on most occasions, he's right there.
Yeah.
And his teammate doesn't get pressured. So
and
far.
his- and
know,
his-
like-
and he's also not as good as some of his fans think. Apparently,
Yeah.
a lot of them got upset. I got very very weird DMs this time around because I praised Oscar
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
for the pole position. Anyways, Ahmed Fabli. FIA need to get bold. They still worry about safety for no reason at all when a lot of improvement have been made into the car. Max also complained. This is the race where it happened, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem. This is the race where Antoine Hubert he lost his life, and I think when on Thursday you have that memorial, your mindset changes. And Spa is a track where they try to be extra cautious.
Look, I mean, only like
understand.
2 years ago, I had an hour-long podcast with Juan Manuel Correa, and look what happened to him
yeah.
at Spa as well.
He also lost his legs, but
Well, no,
damaged them. Then he came back. He also
Yeah.
won races in Formula 2.
Yeah, but like that's my point. Like he's talked about how as you're coming over that crest as well, like it's just so difficult to know what's going on because it's unsighted. So in the wet, like I can understand it, but I think the problem sometimes is like it goes the other extreme where they just went too far today. It was like it was like, okay, look guys, there's dry lines are forming. Like enough now. Like I get it. Be cautious, but enough.
Yeah.
Like this is so.
After lap 1 behind the safety car, they should have started.
Yeah. It was
they didn't
obvious
need to go for lap 4. Once they went to lap 4, I blew my lid. I mean, what the fuck are we doing here?
Going lap 1 when they finished lap 1, that's when it should have been like because I got when literally they were coming around to the starting line at lap 1. And I'm not sure if it was in commentary, but definitely a couple of people on Twitter were like, they should start right now. And I was like, to be fair, like he has to see how the start finish straight is and stuff, bring them up through there. But like at the end of lap 2, like, or the formation second lap, that's where it's like, okay, all excuses are gone now. Like no part of this is causing aquaplaning.
And then they had a rolling start.
Yeah.
Like everything that they hyper cautious attitude. Again, just my view, none of this would have been a huge complaint if the racing was better. Just my view on that. Anyways, we're done with the questions. Next is Hungary.
Quick preview because I have to go in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, it's 3 here. Jesus Christ.
It's
I have to
2
work.
hours and 17 minutes into the podcast.
We're back to the long ones.
Yeah.
What's the pecking order?
I mean, look, I don't know if it'll be McLaren fastest at this one. It should be. But
What
then,
are you
like,
talking about? They
at
dominated
Canada,
it last year.
Yeah, but their car is very different this year. Like at Canada, for example, they weren't the fastest. But then at Monaco they were, right? So this is going to be like slow speed corners and so on. It's not quite Monaco without the barriers as they call it, but it is kind of very slow. I would have to guess Ferrari will be good around here. I actually think Ferrari will be.
So Lewis pole position.
No, not happening. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna actually completely correct myself here. I'm gonna say McLaren just because they have on average been the fastest. I think Ferrari could be the fastest around here, but I don't want to say that because So I'm gonna say McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull. I think this will be the track where Red Bull will be a bit.
The curbs and everything, right?
Yeah, just everything about it tells me this is going to be a difficult one for Red Bull.
Yeah.
So good luck, Lauren Mekias. You have a lot to answer for now. It's been two races.
This was the race.
It's been a race now.
His big blowout, right? Where Max had his big blowout last season.
Yeah. But also, Lauren now has had one race. He has no excuses anymore. According to the Red Bull board, you should be able to fix things overnight. So that should be it now. There's no more excuses. It should either be winning the championship or fired. Simple as that's how it is from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think somewhat similar, right? Because I think it's going to be close between McLaren and Ferrari. The problem is McLaren. I think it might even come down to the start, who has the better start, because you really cannot overtake here.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I haven't checked by now, but I don't know what tire compounds they're bringing for this one.
I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll find out if you want.
Yeah,
But
check. Because I think that could change everything.
have they announced that yet? They usually do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have. Yeah. Just wondering how long before. Mm, oh, I can't find it.
Simply ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, but it'll be wrong.
That's happening with me a lot with Grok, and I've stopped using Grok for this very reason.
For the
No, I didn't stop using it when it became a bit of a Nazi, but yeah, mecha. What was it? What did you call it? Mecha Nazi or something?
yeah. According to this, and it is quoting Wikipedia, I think.
No, that's wrong.
But it's also quoting SB. No, it's quoting SB Nation as well.
No, that's
And it's also quoting Formula One from last year, which is what I was worried about. But yeah, currently it's C5, C4, C3. Apparently.
why is there no announcement? It's so weird.
Yeah. So
mine
look,
is
it looks like C4, C5, or C3, C4, C5 is what it looks like. So
That was
let's just go with
the
that.
same last year as well. Yeah, if they're not going for C6 anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they
Let's
should.
see,
But anyway,
which basically means another processional race. So yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be. I don't know where anyone knows where Mercedes. Is going to
Mercedes
be.
don't know where Mercedes is going to be. So
Yeah,
I'm
So
just
that's
guessing.
An entire
This
wild
just
card.
I've got a vibe that this will be one where they'll be ahead of Red Bull.
Yeah,
You know,
I think so too.
I know.
Because the curbs, if you remember last year as well, that was the big issue with them.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big issue this time around as well.
Only problem is it's going to be a lot hotter at this time of year. So
Okay, yeah, but
then it's always this time of
I think
year, isn't
Lewis
it?
got
So-
a podium here last year.
no, 2023, right?
2023 was on pole position.
Yeah.
I remember 2023 I did a watch along.
Oh no, 2024. I'm so confused. I can't remember. These
Yeah.
years are all fading together now.
That happens with age.
And then people expect me to remember something from 2005 or 6, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It's not going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, predictions.
Top 3. I'm going to say Leclerc wins.
You want
Norris.
Leclerc to win.
Yeah. Norris second. And I'm going to say George third.
Yeah,
It's probably going to be Oscar, Norris, Leclerc. Let's be honest. But I'm going to go with that one. You know why? Because one, it gives a Leclerc win, which will make things nice when Hamilton's in 10th. And then I'm just trying to wind people up now, like blatantly. The Blatantly Biased Racing Podcast. Subscribe. Yeah. And I'm just thinking Norris being in second with like Piastri in 4th or 5th would be interesting, just to kind of swing the championship back to like closer points again, you know, just to give us something for the year.
exactly.
You-
I would love to see a double DNF for McLaren at least, just to spice things up completely. But that's
With a
not
max
really going to
win.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've given up on Red Bull this season. The leadership
I've given
is
up
not
on Red Bull, full stop. Not this season. Just, yeah, it's done. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen people have hope and so on. Well, maybe Mickey's. It's just like,
Nah.
look, I've seen this
Seen the
movie
story.
time and time again, and the only team so far that's actually come back from this has been McLaren, and it took them a long fucking time. So
It was
let's
never a
see.
corporate team either. McLaren was never a corporate team. It was led by Ron, and he
The
did it
difference
for
is
3
also
decades.
the difference is also, and I know people are going to point out Ferrari, but it's Ferrari. I was going to say, like, the difference is McLaren is also a racing team at its core. It's not a drinks company at its core trying to run a racing team.
Yeah.
So McLaren like literally knows how to engineer racing cars, and they make performance road cars.
Yeah.
So they kind of have an idea of what they're doing, and this is really important to them. Like, you know, to actually sell racing cars on the road. Whereas, you know, Ferrari's the same, but they're Italian as well, so
Yeah,
logic's
the
not their
problem.
strong point.
Yeah,
Pasta is. They're fucking brilliant at pasta.
that they are.
So who are you putting in your top 3?
There's one that I want to see, then there's one that's going to happen. So what
So-
I want to see is Leclerc, Kimi. I want to see Kimi get something better. Lewis get his first podium. By the way, he's apparently no one is going to talk about it because they'll get shit on. Lewis has the worst record of everyone that has in their debut season in terms of getting a podium, because this will be his 14th race. Seasons didn't used to be this long earlier when it came to getting podiums. That's how bad he's been. And I think he's on a 17.
You mean debut
18
at
race.
Ferrari, right? Like
Yeah.
not
In
because it's
terms
not
of
his
debut
first season.
seasons, he's not even got a single podium by now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go to Ferrari,
Yeah.
they said.
he
A
won
more
a sprint
serious team,
though.
they said. I mean, as a 7-time world champion said, sprints don't
Yeah,
count.
sprints don't count. That's the funniest part is like Hamilton fans like he won the sprint though, and you're like even Lewis Hamilton doesn't give a shit about that. Like,
Yeah. He does now.
He himself, yeah, probably now, yeah.
Yeah.
But I won a race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So what do you
Lewis-
think will happen though?
Oscar, Lando, Leclerc.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we both think it's actually going to be Oscar, Lando, Leclerc,
Yeah.
basically.
Because
All right.
for Oscar and Lando, it's about who gets the start, who nails the start is going to be ahead. And
Yeah.
I think Oscar is going to nail the start. And that would be it with the race. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Wow, that was a long one.
Yeah. That was way longer. Why is it on the boring races we have more to talk about? The
because
exciting
shit
races
on-
is like an hour and a half, and then like the boring races is like 2.5 hours, no problem. Yeah.
Yeah. That's,
I guess because we can just rant about anything instead of the race, so it makes sense. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we also
Thank you,
skipped.
everybody.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the midfield. If you guys have any
Fuck
questions
the
about the
midfield.
No. If you guys have any questions about the
Fuck
midfield,
the midfield.
that's what Jason said. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Midfield
Bye-bye.
is
I'll go to
ruining
sleep
Franco
now.
Colapinto.
Actually, I
Right,
won't go to
goodbye,
sleep now.
everybody.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Ta-da.
Subscribe. Bye.